haven't had my game shit to bed yet, so
Damn.
guess that's
Ah,
positive.
It's the
Might,
features
might,
that should have already been there a while ago.
yeah, I know. I was
yeah,
about to say, like, damn, adding New Game Plus on a fucking update like months after the game released is wild.
it's
Yeah, well,
it's
live
really
service,
strange.
right?
It, it's really strange to me because Insomniac have had New Game Plus in their game since O2 with Ratchet and Clank, and it's like why wasn't this in base? You've always done it before. Um, but, like, even
Yeah,
Rift
no,
Apart had it with their
no,
challenge
no.
mode.
Remember when we used to buy games and the games used to be like finished when you bought them, like you bought a complete product? Man, I miss those days. Those were fun days.
They were fun
Uh,
days.
Never getting that back, I'm afraid.
No, everything's gonna have. I can guarantee you. I don't think I can't recall a single game besides like I guess maybe Sifu, I suppose, that like after it came out within like 4 months it had an update of some sort.
Man, scared
Yeah,
tired me out being late. Um, I'm still in school, bro. Why not later? I don't know. Graduate.
yeah,
Skill
skill
issue.
issue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
All right, oh yeah. Since we're live, I think we should get something out of the way first.
for sure.
Well, first of all, we're talking about Kung Fu Panda 2, and so I think we should briefly give our thoughts on what we think about the first Kung Fu Panda movie.
Absolutely,
oh
yeah.
shit.
We'll start with Jeb, the old man.
I'll just clarify the first movie, not the second one.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, the first one, because we're going to be
Um,
talking about the second the whole stream.
okay, yeah, makes sense.
So.
I haven't seen one in a while, but um, I still vividly remember it. I find it a very, very strong film, and I think it as each year passes, it ages more and more well. I remember given the concept when it like came out, people were like, "Oh, you're gonna do a fucking kung fu movie about a fucking panda of all animals? What's wrong with you?" Um, and well, you see why they did it, and they play into that with obviously the themes. I find it very, very, very tight. Um, I think in some aspects you could say it's a bit tighter than two, maybe in like how the sequence of events transpire. Two just elevates its characterization and world building, I'd say. But one does all those groundwork that two needed. Tai Lung is very underrated, I feel. He's obviously overshadowed by Shed, but my god, he has the best villain introduction in an animated film. So um, that's your PFP actually. Um,
It is my PFP. I changed it specifically for this stream.
it, I every time I watch it, I love it more and more than the last time. There's so many tiny little details, whether it be how the characters interacted corresponds to their actual animals, or the fighting styles they employ, or how there's little more details when it comes to Shifu's characterization and how that relates to Tai Lung. And then the music, the animation being still aging very well. Yeah, it's just a fucking fantastic film all the way through.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go next. I like it. It's my favorite of the I guess quadrilogy now. Uh, yeah, it's my favorite of them all. Um, I know most people think that two is better, and I do agree that overall two is probably better. But I just like the first one more. I just like Tai Lung more. I like his arc being tying to Shifu and Shifu's level of teaching. Uguay, Uguay is peak. Um, his like the shit he says is obviously meme to death, but like it does actually make sense, and there are all still very wise sayings. Um, the animation is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Um, the voice acting is up there. Um, I guess the only thing I don't even have a problem with it. I just think that like the supporting cast, the Furious Five and Poe's dad, they aren't very interesting. I guess. Like the most interesting thing the Furious Five did was get their asses kicked by Tai Lung on the bridge. Um, but besides that, I think the film is just overall very strong. It's probably my top four DreamWorks animated movies of all time. Um, and I'm very excited to see Tai Lung again in the in the next movie.
Yeah.
I'm worried. I don't. I just do it right, please. I swear to God.
Well, that must make it my turn. So Kung Fu Panda 1, I think it's an excellent film. It's not really one I'd expect to like get a sequel. But like, you know, as it stands, it's a really good film that stands on its own. Um, I think one of the things that stands out to me about the narrative is that Shifu finds a way because he feels like he's in this impossible situation. How do I make this fat, slow, unhygienic panda to how do I get him to become the Dragon Warrior? What do I do to actually bring him to the level that Oogway is expecting? And then he just sees his fascination with food, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna hone in on that. It's a matter of finding creative solutions to reach a destination, and that's something that really stood out to me. And I think that's something that not only applies to just real life in general or the film, but just with any creative works. It's something that I don't know. It really stood out to me as I watched it. We talked about Tai Lung. Tai Lung is an amazing villain. I actually am having a hard time between choosing if I like Tai Lung or Shen more. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth with both of them, but they're both very strong villains. So, but as for Poe's journey, I like it in Kung Fu Panda 1. I like it way more in Kung Fu Panda 2 because I think it goes way deeper into his character.
Yeah, I
All
pretty much
right.
agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if I
Oh, and, another thing I really like actually, it's true to the trilogy. I really love how they take a central pillar of like being. Kung Fu Panda 1 is your physical aspect. Kung Fu Panda 2 is your mental. Kung Fu Panda 3 is like spiritual, which
Hmm.
I think those core concepts being focused on and put across a film is done very well, especially when I think for children in now times as well, body image is quite a difficult thing to deal with, and people seeing, oh, you could be whatever you look like, it doesn't matter, you still have the capability to do things as well as anyone else.
Yeah. SK, have you seen Kung Fu Panda 4 yet? I have not. I'm actually gonna watch it with Chronos in the next less than four
today,
hours. Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Um, yeah, I've rewatched the first two last night. Um, I love them a ton. Three, I don't think three is good at all. I just didn't bother with it. I'm like, we're just talking about two today, and I already remember three enough. I watched it recently, so whatever. I think three is a letdown, but I'm still. I think four still has a chance to be good. If it's good, that's great.
if it's not, then DreamWorks is having a bad year.
Yeah, it's kind of like big film to try and recover things slightly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Mm.
what was I gonna
Fuck, they
say?
released what fucking a straight to streaming Netflix with Ryan in the Dark. If y'all know how fucking Megamind turned out, fucking 14 years for a pile of fucking garbage lit on fire,
Didn't it get like
and
a
they have the
zero
one movie
on
with the
Rotten
robot.
Tomatoes?
It did. It debuted with a zero. It's up now. It's like 10% or some shit, but it debuted with a
Damn.
zero.
That's hopeful. Yeah, totally.
yeah. Then there's that
This is
like
the
teenage Kraken film that was out like last year,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
yeah.
I heard wasn't that good.
It's on Netflix. I might give it a watch. I don't know.
Hmm. Um. Well, yeah. I guess we'll move closer towards Kung Fu Panda 2. I know we talked a little bit about that, but we'll go in the same order. What do we think of Kung Fu Panda 2?
Ooh, okay. So for
You
those
just
that
said
don't
okay.
know me, for those that don't know me, Kung Fu Panda 2 is my favorite animated film of all time. Um,
Ooh.
there's even like an Ecub recording that's due to go out at some point, where Sky and I did Ecub versus Kung Fu Panda 2 versus Rango with a bunch of guests. I won. Um, I convinced them, but I find it a genuine masterpiece in like every single aspect. Everything you love about one, two goes way further into that, um, and honestly, from start to finish, it never like dips in quality to me, and it made Poe for me one of the greatest, if not potentially the greatest animated character. You got three, which is a bit of a letdown. So, um, and introducing Shifu as a not Shifu, Shed as a villain, and him being behind such a tragic backstory, and how Poe comes through that adversity, and especially the sequence where he gets in a piece and he's told that just because you had a rough beginning doesn't mean that's the rest of your story. You can still achieve great things, and it shows him have it done. I personally relate to that a lot, um, due to my stuff around my mother, with her health and my hearing loss and such. So I really connect to that, in a way that other animated films can't quite do. And the music has taken up another notch. Again, the scene when Poe finds the truth is called probably one of the best animated tracks created. The only OST I think rivals it is kind of like Into the Spider Verse and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, genuinely is genuine perfection all the way through to me. Even the Furious Five get moments to shine, and while Shifu has a backseat, I think that works. And when he does appear, that payoff is so worth it. And the entire moment where like Poe um, takes the cannonballs and launches them, and what all that resembles the yin yang, and also even even just small details like how the lighting just completely changes during that scene, and how like the sun starts piercing through the clouds moving. It's all those little details that just elevates it above any animated film for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a masterpiece, genuine masterpiece.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only difference for me is that I like one more. I just do, but I do think two is very strong. My favorite part is probably that Poe's dad tells him the lesson he's going to learn at the very beginning when he's leaving. He says, your story might not have happy like you might story might not have the greatest beginning, but look at where you're at now. He's the dragon warrior. He has friends, but he doesn't really realize or pay attention to what his dad is saying until later when he actually does find out the truth. And I
Yeah.
thought that was great. Um, while I like Tai Lung more, I do think Shen is funnier. His introduction, it's a parting gift in that it will part you, part of you over here, part of you over there, part of you all the way there, staining that wall. Uh, it's very comedic. A little to the left is very memeable. Um, the lighting, like when Shen fires on his own men after his wolf says no, and then he fucking just stabs him with a knife. He just fires him. That shot, gorgeous. I really love Tigress and Poe's new dynamic. I think it's very strong. I like the scene where he's trying to convince the masters to fight back, and they've just like completely lost all hope. It's really good. I still like the first one more. I just like Tyler more. I like his introduction more. The prison escape scene, probably my favorite scene in just DreamWorks in general. But other than that, it's a very strong second movie for the series.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes it my turn now. Yeah, agree with just about everything that was said in praise of the film. I think my favorite part of this whole movie was Poe's journey and how he pieces together what really happened in the past. I think it's really interesting how the film basically communicates it's all there. It's been there the whole time. It's just a matter of he's been burying it, trying to hide from the past, escape from the past, um, not let it like consume him too much. It's been it's been a thing that's like bothering him, but it really came to fruition once he sees the symbol from one of the wolves. It drives that whole conversation with his father, and he learns Not even his father knows where he comes from. And I really liked the neat aspect of how we have like a 2D looking animation for what happened in Poe's past. It's very not coherent like intentionally. It's not complete, it's not all there. There's deliberate gaps that are put there, but once he pieces it all together, as he's finding his inner peace, we actually get to see it in the actual style that we see like most of the film in. When things are completely clear, it's all 3D, completely detailed. He sees what actually happened and how his mom actually did care about him, in spite of what Shen tried to, manipulate him into thinking that they didn't care about him. They thought he was a nobody. They just left him behind. I think there's just really powerful stuff there in his journey. Him discovering what he's capable of, discovering um, his whole past and stuff like that. I honestly think, in terms of animated movies, I think this is the best animated movie sequel. I think just because of bias, I like Across the Spider Verse more, but I think this is a better film, and I think they're both very close in terms of how much I like them. So, um,
But
some of
with every movie, there are people that don't quite agree.
oh yeah, um, Kung Fu Panda made a lot of people cry, including me. That's an accomplishment. Honestly, yeah. Like even last night, I was watching it. Like, damn, my eyes are getting watery. Damn. For both of them, really. I think. Excuse me. I think specifically the end scene where, he talks to his father for like the last time. And then he's like, I know who I am now. And he's like, yeah, I'm your son. And they have that final moment together. I think that's one of the best, most heartfelt moments in the film. There's a lot, but then that one's up there for me. Um, Damn, asked Kung Fu Panda 2 better than Shrek 2? I haven't seen Shrek 2 in years, alright? I was a fucking baby when I last saw that, alright? I got nothing for you.
Um, easily better. Not to say Shrek 2's bad, to be clear, just easily better.
Gotcha.
Um,
Um, but yeah, so I think one of the things that like piqued our interest into talking about the film, not only like how good the film is, but how well the film holds up to scrutiny. Um, and like yeah, like Chronos said, not everyone's gonna agree. I did hear YMS have like some negative opinions on the film. Uh, I checked them out. I don't really agree, but I'd be curious to look into it, um, with other people and actually like break down the points that are being made, because I think it's just gonna go to show like how well that this film can hold up to scrutiny. I think there's another instance of this where we came to this realization, at least with Cronus and I, because we did a watch party on the movie, and there was like one person that was in the server, right, like asking all these questions to try to like challenge the movie, right, and we were able to answer it like fairly easily just based on the movie itself as we're going along. Like it explains this stuff very well. It's a very airtight movie. Um, like if someone were to say, there was I don't know where people would start, to be honest.
I think they'd be committing war crimes if they tried.
That's true, yeah.
Breaking the Geneva Convention.
Exactly.
And then it was originally supposed to be YMS recovering, but then as if the universe, as if it was destiny, one could say, destiny. Someone recently released a video, 8
Really?
minutes long, trying to dunk on Kung Fu Panda 2. Wait, you didn't? I could have sworn you saw it.
I saw that it existed, but I don't know what was
Yeah, you
shown.
saw that it exists.
Have you
Oh,
seen it?
I watched it. I watched like the first half of it. It's not that long. It's like 10 minutes,
Okay.
less maybe.
Do you think it has like a good amount of substance, or what do you think? Like in terms of like, does it
Uh,
make a lot of points against it?
he makes a lot of points.
Oh, so you're not gonna
They aren't
spoil it
very
for
good.
us? Okay.
I won't spoil it for you. No, he makes quite a few. He makes a lot of points. I'll give him
Okay.
credit for that.
All right. TD says I'll be home shortly. Haircut. Damn. Okay. Hope the barber doesn't butcher it. But yeah, seems we're
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
watch
Oh yeah,
together.
yeah.
Ship the
Someone
enemy.
said one of the
Goddamn.
points. Yeah, someone put one of the things in the chat, so I guess I can spoil that. SK, you know when I was talking about it's a cannon, right? They can just move out of the way, so it sucks.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was from that video.
Oh, really? I
No, that
thought
was from this. That was from
it's
no,
from
that was from
both,
this one.
right?
I'm getting it confused. He said something worse. My bad. I gave him too
Oh,
much
okay.
credit.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll give it a listen. I think we're at the correct timestamp, so I'll just hit play to find out.
Good all the way through.
Should.
But I just prefer what has come next. So 4-star.
I feel like I'm right there with you, Alex, in terms of the rating.
Cool.
Is it as good as How to Train Your Dragon? I don't know. I'd have to watch How to Train Your Dragon again.
I like this better than How to Train Your Dragon.
You do? Oh, okay. I feel like I remember that one more.
I don't like How to Train Your Dragon very much. I think it's
Wait,
fucking
maybe it was
stupid.
21.
Yeah, they're just doing stupid.
That thing.
Exactly. Good movie.
Okay. So moving into Kung Fu Panda 2.
There we go.
Just 2011. Directed by Jennifer Yu Nelson. Yeah, it's a follow-up to the first movie where it's about inner peace. He's trying to find where in his life it's gone wrong. What he needs to come to terms with in order to progress as a protagonist. The yin and yang kind of framing is through this new villain character, Peacock, who he's the intro of this one. He gets it's kind of like a paper crafts intro that's all like an animated sequence to get the family dynamics going and establish the conflict of this. Yeah, the Peacock parents invented fireworks, but his son saw like an ulterior use for them. So there's this whole inventing weaponry in early China kind of thing going on with the villain, which is cool to go up against Kung Fu. Yeah, so
Yeah.
what do we think of the sequel? Because I think this movie is kind of just a better version of the first movie. I like that the whole hero's journey stuff's dealt with, and there's something else going on. It's more personal. I like the whole the villain of the first movie, but it doesn't connect as much with Poe directly.
I guess I'll mention right now, I do think it's interesting in terms of the world building, how, like, obviously we know that weapons, like older weapons, were being created throughout history, but I think the fact that Kung Fu is such a huge thing in China, and obviously it's not like actual Kung Fu, but it's more of it has more fantastical elements to it. I find it interesting that you have characters like Shen that are like, okay, so Kung Fu, it's not something you can just counter easily. Why don't we start creating some weapons to actually try to counteract what they can do? From a world building perspective, I do find that interesting, because it kind of adds an extra layer to the weapons that were built throughout history, or what people have tried to do.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially considering that it also plays into his character and his actual ability, because he doesn't have the natural kung fu ability of Poe, Tigress, and such. He's done shortcuts, and he also fights dirty, and this is a way to convey how he fights dirty. So like when he's trying to fight Poe at the end, he suddenly chucks his like feather daggers to try and catch him off guard. He's not a fair fighter or respects the arts of kung fu.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess that's what I find interesting about him versus Tai Lung, because Tai Lung, just because like even though like Tai Lung, he's all like corrupted and stuff like that, you can at least see that to a degree he wants to fight fair, whereas with Shen, he's the complete opposite of that. He completely takes a spit on the whole art form as a whole. I really like the moment where what's his name, Tai Lung, where he goes up against the Furious Five. He lets them fight him to their heart's content, and then at the end he's just like, okay, you gave it your shot, goodbye. He does the unique move that Shifu taught him. He's like, yeah, he didn't teach you everything, did you? I thought that was just a really nice touch for his character. and also does wonders for Shifu and learning about how he changed his teaching style ever since Tai Lung.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Sure.
especially when you think about it, right? I mean, Shen, what did Shen in was creating the weapon. It was seeing a different alternate use for the fireworks. So he doesn't really care much for kung fu, but like Tai Lung spent years of his life training, like his whole life training to get the scroll. Mastering kung fu, and then he got to know. Uh, so
Yeah.
he appreciates kung fu, for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But Shen's just like, nah, I have a weapon.
I really like this movie too. I like the story. I like that it's darker. I'm surprised no one's mentioned yet that Charlie Kaufman was like involved with like
Yeah.
I think he at least helped on like polish up the script.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
definitely did
It
something
used to be
it.
called like Kung Fu Panda: The Kaboom of Doom.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a prequel to Synecdoche, New York, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
it just comes together really well.
Yeah, that's memorable.
Super, super
It just-
expressive villain.
I think it just jumped. I don't know what happens. I'll go
Watch together.
back.
Yeah.
Inventing weaponry in early China. Maybe something else going on. It's more personal. I like it. Yeah, there are a few big names that are kind of attached to these movies, like Guillermo del Toro's in the credits too, listed as a producer, and it's hard to know what really that means at the end of the day, like how much like Kaufman, like what he
Yeah.
wrote is left in here, but it's surprisingly thoughtful for one of these kinds of movies with the
Mhm.
whole inner peace angle and just perfect inverted characters that, and just through their conflict, like what they learn from each other, and especially the villain. I feel like there's out of this trilogy, they each tried to establish a really strong villain, and this is the villain for the Poe character, the perfect character for him to face, because he is just totally inverse to him.
Yeah, sure. I really
his
like
motivation
the
is coming from his fear of the future, and Jack Black's character learns to overcome through his kind of overcoming of the past, and they're totally each other's odds. Like, it sounds
Yeah.
like you're disagreeing.
I'm just not.
with me right now.
You're both saying everything I've ever heard about this movie, and everybody I know personally is just like, yeah, the villain, it's so much better, and I don't understand. I'm like struggling to come to terms with just how much I don't connect with this movie. I really just nothing. The only thing
Right,
that was
okay.
better about this one for me is like the animation quality. The animation's
You don't like
noticeably improved.
the design of the villain?
I mean,
don't- yeah, you're just saying
the
the
fact
animation.
that it's
You don't
like a
just like the
peacock
design,
is like
like the
kind of
feathers.
interesting.
Yeah.
But
And,
I mean,
and like knives come out of his feathers, and like how that's used in the animation, the fight sequences. I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. He has like one of the strongest action scenes in the movie, Lord Shen. Yeah, played by Gary Oldman. Yeah, I thought
he
his
has
voice
some great
acting
action.
was pretty good too. Yeah, there's some cool action.
It's
with
such
him.
a complex.
I mean, it really
character
leans
model.
into like the kung fu aspect of it. Like, it really becomes like almost a really dark action movie. I mean, as far as you can go with like this kind of movie,
Mhm.
the DreamWorks movie still. But yeah, it's like super. It was really cool. Like, I liked all that stuff with the villain.
I mean, it's flashy, like in the sense of like, yeah, the feathers are doing things, and it's fun on the screen, and kind of like a, I don't know, ADHD thing almost, in my opinion. But I never feel intimidated
Wait,
by
oh,
the
you think there's
villain.
too
I
much
never
going
feel
on?
like the villain is posing any kind of a threat, especially.
I just had to pause that because that is the most ludicrous statement I've heard about that film. Shed genocided an entire race of pandas who were in tune with kung fu.
Yeah, I know. It's like
For no reason, by the way. Besides, one of
Besides
them might
protecting
beat him in the
himself.
future. One of them might beat him in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that in itself is pretty terrifying. That he's already like he's thinking that many steps ahead just to protect himself, and he's taking that extreme of a measure. So I don't know.
And he's
And like I get why I can kind of understand why he thinks this, right? Because in the open, when Shen goes to the palace and fights Croc, Rhino, and Ox, right? He beats Croc and Ox pretty easily before Rhino kicks his ass, right? So he gets beaten, and with Tai Lung, you don't really see Tai Lung get beaten ever until Poe beats him. And besides Oogway, right? And Oogway is Oogway, and Oogway is now dead. So therefore, I think that's why he doesn't consider Shen as threatening as Tai Lung. But like at the same time, you're not supposed to be afraid of Shen himself. You're supposed to be afraid of what he has, what he can do with fucking an entire fleet of firework cannons.
I think that the fact that he gets beat by like a kung fu master and still with his like secret weapon, the kung fu master is absolutely no match for it. I think that adds to his terror. And like I think people forget as well during the film, like people thought Poe fucking died during this film.
Yeah.
Like the characters thought he was killed off. So him with her was kind of like a miracle, and Shen got led things to the point where everyone thought Kung Fu was pretty much dead. That's the threat level that Shen poses, and he was about to assert his new dominion across all of China, and then eventually the world was his intention. And he's doing something that was seen as unstoppable until Poe did something that no master, even Oogway, even Oogway has done, and Shifu still hasn't done. He did it in like a few days. He was that in tune with Kung Fu and its abilities and himself that he was able to do what was deemed as impossible, and had to push himself beyond limits. So it's like to say Shen isn't a threat or terrifying is very bewildering to me, given all that context.
Yeah.
Especially when the villain's main thing is like a big cannon that you can literally just walk out of the way of at any point in time. Like that's
Us. Carry a big cannon you can walk out of the way of. Damn, why do people use guns? You can just walk out of the way of guns.
Or just
why
like
did,
swords in
why did
general.
why did medieval knights use bows and arrows? You can just walk out of the way that the person is aiming.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
You tell me, YMS.
It's it's also like considering the context of what happened and when the cannons are used. The first time Rhino thinks he's better than it, just gets murdered. Um, when Poe gets hit by the cannon, it's because he's in shock of it, like when it launches, and like he's phased because of what he heard about his parents.
Yeah.
And then the third time, when it's through the city, there's a whole fleet of them with an army of wolves, which he has throughout the whole film, and the gorillas. Um, and then Tigress gets hit, and she's almost killed. And then when we see it, like all of them aiming at Poe, he has to do the impossible. It's not. It's not as simple as move away at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Really, during the, it still doesn't change the fact he has armies of mercenaries as well.
Yeah.
It's like why YMS is literally acting like the five. When they're in the palace, they first meet Shen, and then they end up destroying the weapon and like crashing it all those floors down. And they're like, "Yeah, we did it!" And then Shen flies off, and then there's like 15 of them on the other building that all fire upon the tower and cause it to collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, congratulations, you've moved out of the way of one. What are you gonna do about the other 20 that are aiming at you?
Exactly. And it's like it's not like the film is unaware of this too, because I mean it's a gag, but Poe literally does this in the final act. Like he's moving away, and they have to keep redirecting it. So, I feel like this just I also just feel like this kind of misses the whole point, which is that there's no other way to combat kung fu in a reliable manner. And this is the best method that Shen would have, alongside his large arsenal of wolves, or just his own fighting style himself. So I don't know, like yeah, there's a chance you can move out of the way, but what about the next shot? What about the next shot? What if Shen sends his wolves to overwhelm you? Like there's always something that Shen is gonna pull up his sleeve.
yeah, and like with cannons, they're not going to get tired, and he has all the materials to keep developing more. He has his own forgery. You, as a kung fu master, will end up getting tired, have to constantly dodge all these
Yeah.
things. You'll get overwhelmed eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
that's the villain's thing, is just having a big cannon and nobody decides to get out of the way except for parts in the story where they go, "Oh," and then they realize they can. at like the dramatic moment where it's required, but every other point they forget that they can just take a step to the side. Like that's just it's ridiculous. I can't.
So the only
Well, I mean-
example I can think of that reflects this is the beginning where they showed the rhino guy with his I think it's a hammer and he's like prepared
Yeah.
for the cannon. But I just took that as he's ready to just block the shot with his weapon, and he underestimated
Well,
how powerful that would have been.
Well, he
So they've never
did
seen it
because I
before.
mean they. Well, yeah, they don't know what it does, and Tigris says, his technique, his like rhino technique or whatever, thick skin. I forgot what it's called. Is like impervious to any attack, so they don't know what it does. And if
Yeah.
he thinks his technique is impervious to any attacks, and he has no idea that this thing's gonna blow up, then why wouldn't he tank it?
Exactly, yeah.
And we can see that it actually worked pretty well because he actually probably did manage to block the cannonball itself, but then it blew up and killed him because you see the skid mark of him being pushed back and where his warhammer is planted.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get behind the villain at all. I can't like I don't really understand. Yeah, I don't I was telling you how much I connected with the motivations of both the villain and the Master Shifu conflict in the first movie. I don't get anything like that in this movie. Like, there's the intro, and it's basically like, oh, my family did fireworks, and I was like, yo, did you know you could use fireworks to kill people? And they were like, that's bad. And so they're like, oh, I want to take over the world now because they're angry at me for being evil. I just
No,
I'm pretty sure he always wanted to pursue power. He just thought his parents would have
that's
been
not what
proud of
happened.
him, and they weren't.
Yeah, no.
For...
Well, it's like first of all, he saw that you could use this as a weapon, right, to conquer more area. And he didn't tell his parents about that. He thought they'd be proud of him for that, but he didn't tell them. They found out themselves, consulted the fortune teller, and then she told the thing about defeated the warrior, black and white, and then he genocided the pandas because well he can't let himself get beaten. But now when he can stop it, one often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it type shit. And then he tells his parents, and they banish him. And so obviously he wants revenge, but obviously he wants to prove them wrong. He wants to prove that he could take over the world, that he can take over China, that his weapon is capable,
Yeah.
that he was right, that he subverted his destiny.
Mm-hmm. I think this just feels like an overly simplistic read of his whole character and his backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
I don't get anything.
no, he
out
wants
of
to
that.
take over
It's
the
so
world because of
weird.
the Sacia character, right?
Sorry?
So he's the Sacia predicts his future, saying his downfall will be through a warrior of black and white or something.
Yeah.
And it's the ultimate fable of basically him just causing his own downfall if he didn't follow through on the Sacia.
Well, I mean, like that was the first movie because like. I mean, like, would Tai Lung have done all those things if fucking Master Oogway didn't reject him, or
Well, that's
like everybody is a part.
what?
That's not the same in the slightest. The problem with Tai Lung is that he couldn't be trusted to be the Dragon Warrior because of what it means and what kind of person you have to be. That didn't mean Tai Lung had to become evil. The issue with Tai Lung, he was a product of false promises done by Shifu and poor guidance. When you take that purpose and that faith away from someone, they have nothing to live for essentially. So he only has one route to go, and that's to take it by force.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
mean, something else is that like the moment in the first movie that was like you're meeting your destiny on the road you take to avoid it wasn't Oogway rejecting Tai Lung, because at that point Oogway had no idea Tai Lung was gonna turn evil, and it's not like he was avoiding Tai Lung turning evil by rejecting him. The point of like that point in the movie was Shifu sending the goose to try and up the security on Tai Lung because of the possibility that he might escape because Oogway had a vision. Is
Yeah.
that was the moment that they meeting destiny on the road takes to avoid it, not but fucking Oogway rejecting him. I don't know how he came away with that interpretation of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like, would Tai Lung have done all those things if fucking Master Oogway didn't reject him? Or, you know, like, everybody is a part of their own destiny. Like, that was already kind of like a theme in the first movie. Like, the entire escape scene of Tai Lung wouldn't have happened if Oogway didn't warn Shifu about Tai Lung escaping. Like, that was entirely set in motion by Oogway. And so they were already kind of incorporating that idea of, like, oh, like, is this a self-fulfilling prophecy? Like, I didn't get anything new out of the second movie with them doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't say it is definitely treading familiar ground with that stuff, but I just prefer the way it's explored here. I prefer that character design. I prefer, the way it comes out in the action too. Like Ralph, you said, which were you pointing to? And you said he's part of one of the best action scenes in the movie. Is it his like assault on the tower? He's got like a
it's like early in the film. It's like the
he's
first
got like
scene
a quick fight with that rhino and like another
that was
character
super
that's there. It's
memorable.
like really
Right.
quick, and you described it as what's kind of ADHD, but that's what I like about it is just how quick it's able to move, but without any
The action
cuts
scenes
and
aren't
keeping
long.
it
It's not like
wide.
the
You get
whole
to see all that
focus.
action.
Yeah.
It doesn't get lost in it to me, which I think is such an
Yeah.
achievement with how complex that character design is, and
Yeah,
just the restraint of the way they use him.
I never once felt intimidated by the villain, and that's a problem for me. It's like if I'm supposed to feel as though they're a villain and that they're capable of, you know, doing damage to the main characters or the universe, I just didn't understand
Really?
why. It was like, oh, the story is telling me that they're dangerous, but I didn't feel that they're dangerous.
He almost kills Poe. What?
Yeah, and like, I mean, we talked about him genociding the whole pandas. He has this large army of wolves that, you know, do his bidding. I mean, I don't know. It just seems very clear cut. I think he's arguably more dangerous than Tai Lung because he seems a lot more larger scale compared to him.
I think like if you give Shen his weapons and his men, he's a bigger threat than like Tai Lung ever was.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, if you just take Shen by himself, he's nowhere near Tai Lung's level. But like, if when you factor in his weapons and the size of his army and what they can do, I mean, he's literally a world level threat.
Well, the idea is that he's meant to take down kung fu masters like Tai Lung, so
It's also strange to say he's not a threat when he's the source of everything Poe's kept buried and his worst trauma. Like,
Yeah.
he is, all intents and purposes, Poe's worst ever enemy. He's the only one really that's a personal element in the entire trilogy, and probably 4 as well.
yeah.
That's why I think he's elevated over the rest, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Because with Tai Lung, he was mostly connected with Shifu, but Shen is deeply connected with Poe. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
that's one
it's
of the
very
reasons
much
I
different
think
in the
2
other
is.
movie.
That's one of the reasons I think 2 is better. I think the villain having a personal connection to your main character is more impactful than a villain having a connection to one of your side characters.
Mm-hmm.
Even if
Like-
that side character is like very important.
It's Shen.
Yes, it is I.
Hey,
Welcome.
you're not intimidating. You're not intimidating because you're a peacock.
Yeah.
That is so fucking stupid.
Not intimidating.
Damn. But yeah, TD, let's introduce your thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2.
I fucking love Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2. Grew up on those fucking movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Lord Shen, okay. His theme gave me fucking goosebumps as a kid. Still does to this day. Fucking love you, Hans Zimmer. But yeah, no, movies are great. They're fucking great. We don't talk about 3.
We don't talk about 3.
Yeah. Oh damn, SK, you should have. Speaking of 3, SK, you should have made your PFP Kai from Kung Fu Panda 3. Then would have had all 3
Would've been
villains.
Oh,
Perfect.
no thank you. No thank you.
Come on, you don't tell me you don't want to be J.K. Simmons?
Maybe Jeb will do
Exactly.
it, because I think he has a more positive opinion of 3.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the most positive here of it.
Okay, then by default you're Chameleon SK. Go fuck yourself.
Ah, what you get for picking last, loser.
God damn.
Eat shit, poser.
Oh man. Pigwise, I was just like, did Shen just join the call just now? Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Jen saw that YMS was talking shit.
Now he's gonna genocide all furries.
As I
Genocide
rightfully
all the
should.
British.
It's over.
Based,
It's over.
based.
But yeah, basically what
Like
we went
the
through
thing!
so far is that YMS doesn't think that Shen is an intimidating villain, and that his whole thing with the cannon is stupid because anyone can just get out of the way. But
Can you dodge a fucking bullet?
I mean, even if we just go back to older weaponry, like just cannons in general, or bows and arrows, it's like you can't just dodge that forever. I don't know.
I mean, like, it's pretty clear, like, I'm pretty sure in the movies, like, whenever, like, people are shooting arrows, it's like, people are just, like, narrowly avoiding that shit for the most part. I don't think.
Yeah.
Napoleon, guys, Napoleon, not intimidating. He used cannons. Why didn't the Russians just dodge the cannons?
Cannon fodder.
Man.
Like, they're scrawny. Their weapons stupid. Like, I can't. You can stop the cannon by getting out of the way. Sorry.
It's more the fear of the technology, though, right? That's what makes him like scary as a villain.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah. If it was
the,
like a
the
nuke.
firework
It's
technology?
gonna
Or like an
destroy
AK.
the valley.
Bro wants a
Okay,
nuke to
yeah.
be. He wants a fucking. He wants a nuke. What?
Why did Shen
My
nuke
Kung
the
Fu Panda
city?
nuke. Why didn't Shen
Why
nuke
did
this
Shen?
city?
Why did Shen nuke the city?
What
gonna
about like
destroy
the whole
China
action
with
scene
Like,
where
can
they
you,
have
can
like
you just imagine, right? Can you just imagine going up to Napoleon, right, when he's about to begin his conquest of Prussia, and be like, "So why are you using cannons if they can just move out of the way?" Like, I can just
I feel
imagine the
like-
face he would make if you asked him that question. He'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I think you could just say this with like any weapon or anything that a character has that makes them intimidating. Like the Green
You can make
Goblin.
any long
why
range
are
weapon
you
ever.
why are you scared of his glider blade, or why are you scared of his pumpkin bombs? You could just get out of the way. Why are we scared of I don't know, Bane? You could just get out of the way when he charges at you. You know.
Why did Goliath throw us? Why did Goliath? What the hell's the little guy? Why did the little guy? I forgot what his name is. Throw a stone- David, that's it. Why did David throw a stone at Goliath? Goliath could have just moved out of the way.
Let's keep it going.
makes him like scary
Sure,
as a villain.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was
the,
like a
the
nuke.
firework technology?
It's gonna
Or like an
destroy
AK.
the valley with it. Yeah.
But what
It's gonna
about like
destroy
the whole
China
action
with the
scene where they
weapon.
have like cannons?
That is actually a good point that Ralph brought up. He said like he can destroy the valley with it. What about the people who don't know kung fu?
Yeah, they can move out of the way too.
If you can
Everyone
dodge a
move out of
wrench,
the
you
way.
can dodge a ball.
Like,
You can dodge a ball. You can dodge a cannon.
Vice versa.
Shed by the final act had like the Furious Five tied up, Poe presumed dead, no hope, and shooting at civilians that could barely get out of the way. Like,
Yeah.
Lined up and it destroys the whole tower.
It was just so silly. I couldn't get behind it. I was just it was just one of those things where like, especially like Poe, I'm just like, get out of the way. And then eventually he learns how to get out of the way, but there's nothing that really initiates that. He just like, oh, we're at the point in the
What?
story where I can realize I can get out of the way now.
I don't even think that's his arc where he says, "I realize I can get out of the way." The realization he comes
No.
to is that he can counteract the cannon by like redirecting the fire from it. So I'm confused how the takeaway is I can get out of the way.
Yeah, no, literally that whole like inner piece section, how it's like showing how like the droplet and the cannonball, like in terms of like how Poe chooses to like maneuver with it, they're not all that different. You just need to redirect its force.
Yeah.
it's also like
Like how
it's also like during the rest of the previous parts of the film, Poe is constantly distracted. So even if he wanted to get out of the way, he can't because his mind is playing on these memories that are coming through, which throws him off at anything he does. It's until the end of the film when he finds it appears that he starts moving out of the way because he's no longer distracted or clouded by this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, unlike Tai Lung, where he's like more of a physical villain. Shen, a lot of what's going on with him, his dynamic with Poe is like a lot. It's more of like an upwards mental battle. It's not about like, hey, like who's stronger, because we know Poe is definitely like stronger than Shen in terms of how their power scaling works. But like Shen has like the upper hand when it comes to like the mental battle between him and Poe up until the last part of the movie where Poe's like, all right, I can't let like my past define me anymore. I gotta move on from this. Like,
Yeah.
that's not that. It's pretty cut and dry.
Well, he has his flashback. The flashback like version in this movie is that whole 2D animated sequence with the Panda town being attacked by the whole army, and that commitment to that like genocide angle is it's pretty surprising from this movie, and that's always been something that's drawn me more to this. Just how they're willing to commit to the kind of darker stuff that does make that villain more intimidating to me, because he's kind of deranged. Like he commits genocide in the opening, and then he's like he's like projecting onto Poe, like in scenes saying like your parents never loved you and stuff like this. It's like pretty heavy concepts to be throwing around in like a Kung Fu Panda movie.
Definitely heavy. Yeah, the 2D animation is good. Yeah, it's awesome. Like how it's used,
really
incorporated in the movie. Yeah, it's like that was like the emotional core of the movie. Like he was trying to go for something like Pixar. I don't know if it's quite as like pulls at my heartstrings that much. I don't think it's as emotional as a Pixar movie, but it almost got there with like that scene.
The 3D animation was definitely improved. I didn't the 2D animation sequences
that too.
I didn't feel worked as well as the first film. I don't know what it is about them. I'd have to like compare them side by side.
I like the 2D
they felt
and
a bit
the
more
3D.
clunky.
I like how it's used. It's just used for the flashbacks and like telling the story at the beginning. Whatever.
They also
right?
just felt like a bit more obligatory.
I thought it was
in
good.
This one.
I like the use of color. I think like that's really good in these movies, and there's like scenes of like very heavy like contrasting colors like for the lighting. It's cool. It's like a cool effect, I think.
So can we talk about like the villain's motivation? Can you describe it in a way that like might make me feel like it's all right? Like I don't. It's just I get the whole just evil because they're evil vibe in this one, but in the first movie it was like there was like a gigantic justification for like how he was raised and stuff, right? I really connected with that, but I just is there anything in this movie that describes why they're evil other than they're just like, oh, I wanted to use fireworks for a weapon and my parents didn't like that. That's it.
Well, he's just.
So I guess we'll go from here. It's not just a matter of his parents didn't like what he did, and like I think it was what was happening at first was that he wanted to show that he can be powerful, show that he can tower over people, be the big guy who has the best weapons out there. He wanted to show off like that. It was his pride and his ego that really played into it, and it really started to build up over time, especially because of the fact that he was banished, and that drove him to more, to like even more villainous actions, to try to put himself up at the top. So I don't know. I feel like it's. I don't think it's a matter of he's just evil because he's evil. They're relying on very clear traits of his that were established very early on, and they build upon it from there. It's not just static.
Yeah, no, I don't. Him being evil for the sake of being evil, that's. I don't want to be that guy, but I feel like he missed the whole point of the movie. I hate to be that guy.
I think as well with Shan, he's in an environment of elitism because obviously he's part of the Peacocks and obviously they ruled over Gogman, and with all that money toward his disposal, he kind of loses a sense of morality, and he thinks he's probably better than people because of that sense of growing up, and that's what leads him when he's being told, "Oh, you're going to be defeated." Doing what you want to do is going to lead you to embarrassment, essentially, in his mind. That leads to obviously his genocide because he's like, well, my parents could do what they want. They're leaders of this city. I'm a lead. I'm going to be a leader of this city. Why can't I do what I want? Type deal. So I think it's from an upbringing of elitism for Shen, whereas Tai Lung was nurtured that way by the push of Shifu, which is quite which is quite interesting when you could compare their upbringings. To be honest.
Yeah.
Just operating under this fear of losing his power, right? It's just him reacting to this Seisu
sure.
and creating this
Okay.
situation for himself.
No, but like why he's like a power hungry evil person in the first place.
Oh right. No, I guess it doesn't go
Yeah.
that deep in terms of like why he wants to commit genocide. It's
Yeah,
just kind
I
of
don't know.
in the intro, you know?
I'm not trying to like. I'm glad you're both able to connect with it a lot. Just so much of this film felt like obligatory. You know, it just felt like we're going through a lot of the same beats again, and we are doing these. You know, we have this character because this is necessary. This character because this is necessary. But it wasn't really. It didn't feel as organic. You know, it didn't feel as like purposeful. It just everything just felt like we kind of have to do this.
That just seems so strange to me that he says they had all this because it was necessary, and then he also says it wasn't purposeful. How, they can't both be true at once. If it was necessary, then it was done on purpose.
Yeah, that's kind of confusing in the wording. Yeah, I don't know what he's going
There
for.
are
It
no
is sort of-
accidents.
There are.
So,
You've said
I
that
don't
twice now.
Thrice.
I didn't like. I wasn't connecting with like the jokes, or I can't think of like a really good joke in this movie.
I like the humor in this movie. I feel like it's like a little more.
I mean, I love the part where Poe was yelling, and then he's like, "What? What?"
Yeah.
He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember a little to the left. Damn.
Damn. Or my number one enemy, stairs.
Stairs.
I really love as well how Poe like bursts in and destroys like the tiny version of cannon. And they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think the humor is much better in the second movie. Not saying it wasn't good in the first, but I liked it more in the second.
Literally, when Poe and Shifu like first interact in the movie, it's like, Poe, the day you're chosen as Dragon Warrior was the worst day of my life. It was
Got
the
way to
most
beat down on
brutal,
me.
agonizing.
Hey, you're punching down.
I also really like the scene where obviously the Furious Five are all tied up, and like Mantis goes on about how like how he wants to end his life, and it's basically the way Mantises do, where he gets his head bitten off.
Yeah, it's like I meet a nice girl, we go out on a few dates, we have some children, she bites my head off.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so much great shit in Kung Fu Panda 2. Honestly, I found
Yeah, no,
myself
there is.
laughing out loud way more in the second one, which is funny because I watched around like I think 2 or 3 a.m. So
Yeah, I remember that.
well, I mean, I meant last night too.
I thought. Funny how both times you watched that movie it was like late as fuck at night.
No, yeah, I watch movies late. It's crazy.
Oh, I've noticed.
Oh yeah,
That's a
someone
good-
just mentioned when
That's a good
Poe.
one.
Yeah, when Poe mistook the goat for a man and called her beard false advertising. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
god damn. The
More
part where
subtle,
like the goat keeps like eating Shen's like robes. That shit
yeah,
always,
no,
that was
no.
funny to me.
Bro, when she was like, what does your thing tell you now, Soothsayer? It's like, if you continue down this path, you will find yourself at the bottom of the stairs. And it's like, I see pain, and then plucks a feather from him. And then it's like, you're not telling the future. You're only saying what's happening, and she finishes the sentence for him. Like, now?
Plenty of funny moments.
Yeah.
I wasn't connecting with like the jokes, or I can't think of like a really good joke in this movie.
I like the humor in this movie. I feel like it's like a little more subtle. Again, it's going for a darker tone. Like I feel the Charlie Kaufman influence in it. You know, it used to be called like I think I said before. Like the title of it was like Kaboom of Doom or something stupid like that. Like Kung Fu
That
Panda
is
2. Like
ridiculous.
that's much better. I think that poster, like just the title, much better. And it feels like a continuation. You know, like you learn about Poe and like he wants to find out where he really came from. And it's funny in the first one, like, it really, his dad's a goose. Like, it can't really be a goose. Like, where's his panda dad, And then, like, even there's a joke in this movie about it, too. Like, that it's a good way to take his character and, like, that you discovered over 2 movies, too. Like, I really like that,
I
there's,
thought
like,
it like
a
it was
setup.
so
At the
funny
end of
in the
this movie,
first
there's, like, a good
movie, and
setup.
then they just over-explained it.
Over-explain, I don't know, but if you want to make a sequel, you need to do something interesting, right? You need to, like, explore the characters in some way.
Yeah, but this one is just like a
interesting.
little
They
too
could have taken it a
obvious.
different way, sure, but I like the way they took it. I think that's
Obvious,
differently.
Yeah,
You
that
know, like
seems
a
like
big
a gap
theme of
you'd
all
want to
these-
lean into.
Yeah, all 3 of these movies have this theme of, like, mentorship or, like, almost fatherhood.
Yeah.
like,
I just
especially
think
the third.
the
movie,
reason why the joke
even
was
this
so
movie,
funny
too,
in the
you know?
first movie is because they didn't address it. Because that was a part of the
Yeah.
misdirection. Is you think that he's gonna say, "Oh, you're adopted," but he doesn't say that. He said another line, right? That's what made the joke work well in the first movie, is because it wasn't acknowledged. And then the first thing they do in the sequel is like, okay, we're gonna make the entire
Sure.
plot about this.
Retcon it.
It's like it's such a sequel thing to do. Like leave no stone
Oh
unturned.
wait,
sort of thing.
pause, because it's not a retcon. Because Poe literally says in this movie that he knew he was adopted, and he says like, "Dad, look at me."
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're talking about it being a retcon. And it's like the joke still works in the first one, because
Yeah.
either way he's adopted. And the joke is that he doesn't tell Poe he's adopted in the first movie. And whether or not Poe finds out later doesn't change the fact that it was still a good subversion and a good joke.
Yeah.
If anything, it's just telling the same joke but differently and expanding on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm very, very confused. Like, that no one thought, that the goose had sex with a female panda. I don't understand.
Were you?
Oh.
Yeah, the way they took it, I
Yeah,
thought
it
was
doesn't seem like that
different.
much of a stretch to me, though. If, like, that's who knows where he came from. It's like if he's his father figure, he has to have, like, started at some point being his father figure. So that doesn't seem like a stretch to me for that information to come from him, and to lean into that whole joke, because it is a funny joke. It's one of the funnier, like, gags in the movie. Is that it just continues, and they're playing it so straight, so serious, with this, like, goose father with, like, all the musical beats and everything, and his dad's, like, still really passionate about him. That's one of the funnier jokes to me. Just like the commitment to the absurdity. That's what I like about Kung Fu Panda, is whenever they do that, while at the same time having this, like, villain who's committing genocide and is a like a threat to the whole world, and is like a tyrant. Like, I think that's fun. They're able to make both work.
There was a part near the beginning where they made a joke, but it was like almost at the expense of like the first movie's plot, where Master Shifu's like, "Poe, the day you're chosen as a dragon warrior was the worst day of my life so far." But
yeah,
like, we saw, what about when your son tried to kill you, or when you had to kill, like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure Shifu's joking around there. It's not his
Yeah,
actual,
like, it's
like,
pretty
worst
obvious
day.
he's not being sincere. Like,
It was like, I love how he says, "I can't remember a single funny joke," and then proceeds to name one of the funniest jokes in the movie.
And then seems
Like,
to, like, miss the point of it too.
And plus, like, well, think about it, right? The day Tai Lung tried to kill him was the day Poe beat Tai Lung and truly became the Dragon Warrior, the day he found inner peace. So why would that be the worst day of his life?
Oh, well, I think he's referring to when Tai Lung left.
Oh yeah, when Tai Lung first betrayed him. Yeah.
Yeah. But still, I would just say I thought it was pretty clear when I watched it that Shifu was deliberately being hyperbolic there, just to that's their relationship now. They go back and forth with each other. They poke fun at each other, poke fun at the past that they have.
It's like what happened in literally the end of the first movie, when like Shifu was going like inner peace and he was laying down on the floor, and then Poe's like, "Shifu, don't die." It's like, "I'm not dying, you idiot."
Or when they're just, they're relaxing and he's like, "You want to get something to eat?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, yeah, we see that relationship progress over the course of the film. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm for Shifu to just mess with Poe like that. Like, you remember the scene where he says, "You're free to eat now." I said,
yeah,
"You're
they
free
just
to
like
eat now."
trolls him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think it's just a mark of progression for their friendship. You know, so that they have more of these kinds of interactions with each other.
To that, also, it's kind of like a dynamic where some like employees and like bosses kind of have it, where like they'll like sometimes joke around, you know.
Yeah.
Like if they've known each other for a while, like they'll joke around, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, it was all in the purpose of telling Poe like how Shifu unlocked inner peace, and it was literally the whole point of it was to lead up to telling Poe about inner peace. So
Yeah.
it's not like it wasn't. It's not. It had a purpose too for in Shifu's case.
Mm-hmm.
I'll kill your own son. It's like what?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I
That
don't
was a
know.
gag just going a
I
bit too
know
far,
it's like
yeah.
the gag shouldn't come at the expense of like the universe, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
It's like a late Simpsons joke, you know. It's like
Mhm.
nobody cares anymore.
Late Simpsons show. Yeah, like after season 15.
Yeah.
Some of these criticisms I agree with. Yeah, I don't think it's perfect. You know, I don't think it's as good as like some of Pixar's.
I disagree. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Literally a
Movie's perfect.
9.5 out of 10.
I give
Movie's
it a
perfect.
10.
Fuck off.
best movies. Like,
No, I refuse to
how I
say
feel
anything's
anyway.
perfect. I'm a flawed
Mhm.
individual.
Damn. So he's mentioning Pixar right now. I mean, I'd probably have to refresh into Pixar movies, but I'm thinking Kung Fu Panda 2 versus many Pixar movies. I think Kung Fu Panda 2 is better than most.
Yeah, you kind
Yeah,
of look
I can't think of a single
But The
Pixar movie that would be better than
Incredibles.
Kung Fu Panda 2. Yeah, the Incredibles, SJ.
I guess you're looking
um,
at Pixar films like Ratatouille, maybe.
I was
In
thinking
terms of its
Ratatouille
best
as well. But I have to rewatch that for myself because I haven't watched it in years. But I remember that one being like the strongest Pixar movie. Um,
Mhm.
I don't think any of the Toy Story movies are better than it, even though they
Nope.
have a lot of great stuff. I don't think what's it called? Oh yeah, obviously not Toy Story 4. I don't think that's a question. Um, I'm trying to remember Up, because I remember thinking Up was really good. I don't know if I'd say it's as good as Kung Fu Panda 2 though.
I was
Yeah, I
like, and
don't.
even if we give like all the Pixar movies, all the great ones like Ratatouille and everything else, they'll have equal writing to Kung Fu Panda 2. They're all just as well written. I think even in terms of animation, Kung Fu Panda 2 blows Pixar out of the water.
Yeah, because Kung Fu Panda 2 does a lot with its animation, like even to the most minor of details. So I
So
don't
like
know.
even if you want to give Ratatouille is like as well written as Kung Fu Panda 2, I still think Kung Fu Panda 2 would be better.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I really connect with the story on this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I just appreciate the main arc of Poe and how it contrasts with the villain. I just think it's really well done, and having like the villain killed by his own creation. I like that detail in the final fight with Poe. Like he doesn't actually hit him once. Like he just dodges out of the way. So Shem winds up killing himself, like reinforcing his whole like prophetic angle and how he's just made it all happen to himself. And he pulls this expression when the
Synthwine said, I know people might say Coco or Inside Out. I need to watch both of them, honestly. I need to watch both of them.
Um,
Bro, Coco is so good. Like I watched that for the first time a few weeks back. Like that shit made me cry. Like it's so fucking good.
I watched Coco. I love Coco. But I don't think it's better than Kung Fu Panda 2. I think what Kung Fu Panda 2
Same.
has over Coco is like it doesn't shy away from what it's doing. It goes kind of all in, like depicting genocide in a raw fashion. Uh, and stuff. I just don't think Coco reaches to the point because I think that's aimed at a younger audience potentially. But yeah, I think Coco's great though.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
great.
Thane asks, so are you guys watching this because YMS is criticizing it or something? Yeah, we're just interested in going through the criticisms that YMS has and showing that Kung Fu Panda 2 really holds up to scrutiny overall.
Because it's peak.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
Colin would say Soul is like I think he said Soul was the best of the Pixar movies. He mentioned Soul a lot. I remember when I
I have
watched
not seen Soul.
I was kind of mixed on it. I think that like there's lots of good in it for sure, but I just remember thinking, okay, I'm a little. I don't know how I feel about like the rules that they've written for Soul. I was a little confused on that. There were things that stood out to me, and I was thinking, I don't know if this makes complete sense in the story. But I have to rewatch it again to remember what I meant by that.
I like Wally. Simp. I think Wally's.
Wally's good. I remember really liking Wally.
I heard a certain individual start nitpicking Wally and shit at some point. So I don't know. Maybe we'll hear more of that. I guess.
Wally.
Wally, yeah.
His weapon comes and like falls down on him and completes him, and finishes him off. It kills him. And he has it's like the one time he shows any kind of peace, or like he's come to accept his own fate, when he's always like fighting this future that he's just made exist for himself. I just think it's surprisingly thought-provoking for a movie like this.
Sure, yeah, it is. It's deep,
And
man.
just that Gary Oldman performance too. I think without him, they would have struggled to characterize him as strong as they do. But that performance, they're just able to bring so much like passion into that animation.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
It just comes together really well.
I gotta add on to that. I think I enjoyed Gary Oldman's performance for Shen more than the performance for Tai Lung. Both are pretty good, but I liked Shen's a lot more.
I feel like
You know,
Gary Oldman had just had more room to work with. I feel like
Yeah, I liked he had
Tai
more
Lung,
range.
but like, yeah, no, but like with Shen, it's like we really get to like know him. With Tai Lung, it's like I like both movies, but I feel like with Tai Lung, it's like a lot of what we're told about him is like we don't really like, see much of him like do much for the movie until like towards the middle, then in the end, which still what we got is still really good. But like I feel like Gary Oldman has a lot more to work with in terms of like
yeah,
scripts and whatnot.
yeah. Shen is insignificantly more and speaks more in this movie. Also, another reason I put Gary Oldman above the guy who voiced Tai Lung is because when I before I rewatched it, I when I had only watched it as a kid, I remembered Tai Lung's voice being a lot deeper than it actually was, and I was shocked. It's like, damn, I remembered it being a lot deeper than this.
Why are you saying certain? You should totally say their name. Well, the problem is that when I was saying it, I realized, okay, so when I had that call, I can't remember if it was my friend making the point or if my friend was relaying someone else making the point. I actually couldn't remember, so I'm like, I'll just say certain. So I'm not even I really know.
You're not even trying to be like conspicuous or some shit. You're just trying to.
No, I'm just straight up saying what I believe at the time. I don't even remember who it was. I just know it's a certain person.
No, you're just a liar.
Fuck the Cars movies, though. They wish they were as good as Kung Fu Panda 2.
They do.
No, yeah.
They wish they were as good as Kung Fu Panda 3. Wait, what?
Oh,
What?
well, I haven't seen I haven't seen Cars 3, so I heard from Grant that the third one's the strongest, but I haven't personally seen 3.
Everyone's the strongest.
But yeah, I watched Cars 1 and 2 with Grant, like, I think a year or two ago. I don't think they're good, to be honest, in terms of writing. I don't think they're very impressive. I mean, like, visually, of course, they look pretty good, but I just don't think on a writing level they're very strong. And maybe we'll talk about that more another time.
I like how 1 and 3 like tackle racing, but the second one's like, hey, it's a spy movie.
It's a spy
It goes
movie.
into like big corporate spy. It's a spy movie that delves into big corporations and big oil. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, most tonally disjointed trilogy I've ever seen.
Yeah, I can't stand Cars 2 in any fashion.
Yeah.
The only good part about it is George Carlin.
Yeah, it's one of the weakest animation sequels I find.
Yeah, it's like compare that to Kung Fu Panda 2. It's like, ooh.
Okay, but like Finn McMissile's theme though. Michael Giacchino, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, we gotta give him that, the soundtrack. All right, we gotta give him the soundtrack.
We will give him the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael.
Yeah, that's memorable.
Super expressive villain.
Yeah, good performance for the villain for sure. I don't think that there's like a single scene or sequence in this film that matches the cinematography of some of the scenes in the first film.
What?
I would disagree heavily with that. Like,
Dude,
just look at the inner peace scene, like what they do with like the little drip of water. Like, that's insane. I think that outdoes anything in the first movie.
like, dude, like that part where like, okay, I know he said he doesn't like the 2D sequences for whatever reason, but like that scene where like we see the full flashback of like Poe's backstory and like Shen doing the genocide, like, dude, like just that combined with like the music is just chills.
Yeah, and yeah, go on.
I was gonna say, I just like the entire third act. I'm not gonna lie, like every bit of it is oozing in vibrancy, excellent lighting, especially with the usage of the color red, and how sinister it is.
Yeah. I mean, every time we see, like, to add on to the whole sinister aspect of the red, every time we see the symbol that flashes back to Poe's past, like, that's all in bright red for you to see. Or blood red, I should say. Um, and I don't know. I think it's done very well at when they do that. I've talked about this earlier, but when we look at the sequence where the mom leaves baby Poe behind, we first see it in 2D in a very like incoherent manner at first. It's like all the pieces aren't there, but then once we get the clear picture of it in full 3D, it's fully clear. You know, I think that's just really good visual storytelling because we're piecing together the puzzle with Poe. Um, so I don't know. I mean, like besides the inner peace thing, besides the end thing, I mean, what else is there? It's like we have all the. I mean, every fight with Shen. I don't know.
I
Um,
I also
I heard how it was like a fucking nightmare to animate Shen with how many moving parts there was to him.
oh, for sure. I can only imagine how insane it was to rig them. Like, jeez.
Oh my god, like, oh god, just like all this, like just like a slider for like all his feathers just incoherently moving together.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I also remember the scene where like obviously Poe gets launched out and it cuts to Shifu and like
oh,
he clutches his chest and the lighting in that with the clouds and the thunder and lightning in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That that's also an excellent scene. So I think the cinematography is way better than one. I think one, uh, especially in its color scheme, could be quite basic at times.
Mhm.
Although you have like moments like the prison scene or when Tai Lung gets the blue flames, and that final battle with Shifu. But I don't think it ever gets to the standard of Kung Fu Panda 2, like ever.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Kung Fu Panda 2 is a huge step up.
yeah, like I feel
Yeah.
like as the trilogy goes on, like you get like more and more like visually like more awesome visuals, as they do say.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully 4 continues that.
We'll find out.
And when I was talking about like how the camera follows the action, especially in the Tai Lung escape sequence, like just the way that things are shot, like I never got that in this movie.
Sure. Hmm.
Like that's such an important aspect. It just wasn't there.
See, I think generally I prefer the action in the second movie. That I do think that bridge in the first movie is like a standout action scene with the like Furious 5 versus Lang.
Mm-hmm.
That like as far as like peak action to me, outside of that prison escape, that's like those are the two from that movie. Whereas I do like the whole like boat siege at the end with the coming right after the reveal of the kind of emotional gut punch of his backstory being revealed of like what happened to his parents and them actually like committing to like his family being destroyed and where that takes him next, and the way it's like edited and the kind of crescendo, the build up to the way that final action scene kind of comes together. I like that more than the way that first movie comes together, where once Poe kind of figures out and has to win, it makes the villain more of like a joke. It takes away all that fear you
No.
built up in.
It doesn't.
Is he talk? So he's talking about the final battle with Tai Lung. So I don't. I get that they go for a comedic angle, but I think that only happens when Poe has figured it out, like figured himself out how he's gonna
Well,
take him on.
it's only after Tai Lung reads the scroll and sees that it's empty that it happens, which makes sense because at that point, like Tai Lung realizes that his entire life he's been working towards a blank piece of paper,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is the ultimate loss. That's the biggest hell I've ever seen someone take.
I mean, I feel like you kind of have to laugh at something like that. You
What?
can't just take that completely seriously.
Yeah, it's like just think about it for a second.
Like
right?
you
Grew up.
fighting all your life for a piece of paper. What a loser!
Well, not even that, right? Think about it this way: his entire life he's been training, breaking bones and shit to master kung fu, fucking going through rigorous exercise. But he ravaged the valley, got himself thrown in prison for 20 years, where he rotted away, all for this scroll that he was told would give him unlimited power. And he opens it, and it's blank. It's reflective golden paper.
It's like
There's nothing on
it's like Jeb in the politics channel looking for the poser doc, and oh, it's blank.
It's blank.
No, man, you did not just go there.
A very underrated moment I find in Kung Fu Panda 1 is when Poe thinks that the Dragon Scrolls are cooking, and like Tai Lung's yelling, no, the scrolls giving him power.
Yeah, the scroll's giving him power.
I
No.
know.
The scroll has given him power.
It's perfect, honestly.
In with him, like in that final conflict, and when Poe's like throwing him into the air and slamming him into the ground and leaving like cartoonish holes where he was. Like, I just think where they take the villain in 2 is just way darker, way more serious, and that they treat it seriously the whole time. And his character.
Something I want to
I
add.
was like, pause.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, I can dismantle this right now, right? Because he's complaining about how Tai Lung was treated like a joke at the end. It's like, what about when Poe's deflecting all of Shen's cannonballs and he's like fucking dancing on them, and Shen's getting all mad? It's just like, shoot them! Shoot them!
Kill him! Somebody kill him!
And then Poe does the thing where like you put your fingers to your eyes and then you point at someone else, and then Shen gets even angrier. It's like, is that not playing Shen as a joke? Like, is that not funny?
And like when Poe gets his hand on fire, and instead of putting it in the water, he just puts it in his mouth, and Shed's like there gobsmacked at him.
Exactly.
I want to add on to the Tai Lung fight, but a detail that I did enjoy as I was watching, is really, I find it interesting from a cause and effect point of view, is that with all these other with the Furious 5, he was able to do the nerve locking technique or whatever it's called, in order to like have them completely immobilized. But what I found interesting was that one of the ways they validate what's his name, Oogway's like his whole vision of what's going to happen. One of the ways they validate that is
a peach can defeat Tai Lung.
Well, it's that Tai Lung, Tai Lung literally tries to do the nerve technique against Poe, and it's like, oh, that doesn't work because of his build. It's like, it just seems, that's just, it seems like, silly from a surface level point of view, but like, I think that's smart. It's like, no one would expect this Panda to be the Dragon Warrior, to be able to defeat Tai Lung, but because of his like mere build, he's immune to the nerve technique, at least being affected the way they were.
Well, I like how they set it up earlier too. With the scene where he finds out what Tai Lung's backstory is, because Mantis is doing the acupuncture, and he says it's hard to find all the right nerves underneath all this.
Oh my god! Yeah,
as fat.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was
really
a very
nice
good
attention to detail.
payoff.
So honestly, yeah, I think that's just, it's a really cool way of showing, this is what Oogway was seeing. It's not really obvious, but
Character.
it's thoughtful.
I think it's sillier to
Yeah,
just
with every
like
character
eventually
now.
invent the idea of getting out of the way of the it's just moving to the
All
side.
right.
Wow, he
I think
beats-
that's so much
It's funny
sillier.
that he says this, but this
Yeah,
is
I've
not
never-
how Poe beats the cannons.
Yeah, it's not
Like,
even
Poe,
how he
A
beats
Poe
him.
good
never,
amount of the times, he like grabs the shot. Like what?
he reflects the shot. He doesn't move out of the way. He lets the cannon shoot where he is and then redirects it back at the cannon. It's not like he's dodging it. Like he's not moving out of the way of the cannon's like fire. He's directly
Yeah,
standing in front of it and then
Like yeah, there
throwing
are
it
a
back at
handful of
them.
times. Like yeah, there are a handful of times where he's like dodging the shot, but like just narrowly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even then, that only works because he's on water. If he was on land, that shot would have hit the ground and would have exploded, so he wouldn't have been able to do it.
Jeb the Fudge Hog will be peeing now.
Okay.
I'm never intimidated
The
by
piss
like the
hog.
entire fucking film. I think it's just I don't understand why characters don't know how to just step to the side until the end of the
I
movie.
see it more as like it's it's them beating the technology in that moment. Like if he's able to redirect like the power, it's more of like a visual like representation of him overcoming his past, and
Yeah.
so he's able to, you know, I guess.
Does YMS know what a cannon is? Does he know how they work? I don't think he does.
Damn.
It's just a ball of paper.
It's just a ball. It's just a metal ball. Just move out of the
Damn,
way.
it's tiny.
Yeah, exactly. Bro, if you can dodge a cannon, you can dodge a bullet, right? Because
Yeah,
bullets are even smaller
look
than
at this.
cannons.
It's just a small ball projectile, guys. It's just like dodgeball. Watch me.
Yeah, I
Man.
want to see YMS dodge a cannon. We'll
Wait,
see how
Kronos,
that
have you ever
goes.
seen Dodgeball?
Yeah, dodge cannon.
If you can dodge a car, you can dodge a ball.
No point in playing dodgeball. Just get out of the way. Man.
Sorry. I'm glad I re-experienced it just to remember that I don't like it. But 5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised you didn't like it more because, you know, the Charlie Kaufman influence on the script.
No. I didn't really.
Yeah, as I say, it's just hard
the
to
name's
pinpoint.
there. I don't really feel that watching it though.
Yeah. He just polished it up. But, you know, like, I feel it is thoughtful. I like Poe finding inner peace, and there's a lot of, like, callbacks, I guess. It's good. I'd probably give it the same. Yeah, I don't know what you'd rate it, Alex. I'd probably give it the same as the first one, like 8 out of 10 is what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, I'd
I
give
like
this
it more
higher.
than
This is
Madagascar.
like a 9 for me.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I just think once the intro is done, that first 5 minutes, once the setup's done, it's just non-stop. Like that pacing, it's like fire. It just really works for me, the way it builds, and the way just the yin and yang story like builds up, and that action too. And it is kind of funny, like looking at it under the lens of this was around that time they were really trying to push the 3D in the DreamWorks movies. So and you can see it in like certain shots where they've
I did notice
framed
that,
it
yeah.
around that. Like I kind of like it in certain shots. It seems like they're playing with the composition in a specific way to like.
Synth said YMS should be invited onto the Disagreement Day. I'd be down.
No.
I'd be down.
Like draw your eye to
Bro, I swear, he
certain
gave it a 5 out of
points,
10.
yeah.
If he gives Kung Fu Panda 3, like if he gave, I haven't seen it, right? And I don't think we're watching the Kung Fu Panda 3 bit of this video.
No,
But if he gave Kung Fu Panda 3, yeah, if he gave the Kung Fu Panda 3 a higher score than Kung Fu Panda 2, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Damn.
To enhance that
Because there
3D.
ain't no
and I
fucking
suppose
way.
it could be distracting, but I don't really mind how that like comes together for me.
Yeah, they were throwing a lot of stuff at you. For like shots like that. I thought the movie looked great, yeah. I think the animation's slightly better than the first one. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because the way it's designed, I feel like the hair's like more detailed. Like I was trying to pick up on things like that. Like on the tiger.
Like just the way, like the way light bounces off hair and stuff like that. Just that kind of technology just improves so much.
It's a little more elaborate, right? But you know, the designs, everything are very simple. It's kind of like the DreamWorks style, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought, I really like the design of the villain and like a lot of what they did with that villain. I think he's probably my favorite one of the 3. Like, I like the first villain too, though. Yeah, like that action scene on the bridge is great in the first one. Yeah, like that's probably like the best action scene. the most memorable.
I disagree with that.
But
I
yeah,
think
the
Tai Lung's fight
peacockiness
with
is cool.
Shifu is better than his fight with the
Do
Furious
either
Five.
of you feel
Hmm.
like they kind of had to gimp
I'd agree.
Poe for this movie because he was like he learned how to fight and became like an
Gimp.
expert and was like, oh, I just have to incorporate food by the end of the first movie. But then in order for them to have like, oh, silly training scene with Tigress and Poe, they kind of have to like make him forget how to fight again. Like, is that
What?
not kind of
What?
No.
I don't know what he's talking about here about forgetting to fight.
I think
He knows how to
I
fight
think
in
he's
this
talking
movie.
about I think he's talking about like the boat scene and then like the scene
Yeah, that's
again in the jail cell?
Yeah, he's talking
Well,
about
it's
the
like,
jail cell scene.
the jail cell wasn't training, and the boat scene also wasn't a fight.
Also, Tigress is faster than Poe, so I mean, it just stands to reason she's gonna keep pushing him backwards.
It's also
Also,
And also,
they aren't like it's not a serious fight.
it's not a serious fight. Poe would be holding back, and Tigress isn't.
yeah, and
Tigers don't give a fuck.
Poe's mind is literally all over the place. He was either caught off guard where Tigress went, well, come on then, let's show what you can do. So he wasn't even in the right mindset to do a fight, which is
Yeah.
which is
Exactly.
repeated throughout the film. Like the fight scene against the wolves where he gets hit in the face because he gets distracted.
By the symbol. His fight scene with Shen when he goes against Tigress's wishes, and he's fighting Shen, and then he sees the symbol on Shen's like peacock feathers. He opens his tail, and then which leads into my favorite shot of the movie when Shen jumps back onto his cannon and then fires Poe at like point blank range, blows him away.
And people forget as well, like against Shed, he like holds the whatever the tool is and launches it at his throat. Like he isn't messing around at that point.
Yeah. Um. What was I gonna mention? Oh yeah, and I also think that in that scene, Tigress comes across as more desperate, than Poe does, because she literally says like she can't afford to lose Poe, so I think that's another key thing.
kind of weird?
You think it's like a Matrix situation? We've got to take him down a notch in the sequels.
Well, yeah, I mean, like they're kind of just
Yeah, sure.
undoing things that were already established. That's kind of how it felt to me, anyway. Like, oh, now he has to be weak again. Like, so many of the fight scenes revolved around being like silly, right? Whereas, like, I loved so much about the fight scenes in the first movie. You know, the creativity in the camera work, the sound design, the choreography. But in this film, it was just like, oh, the jokes are in here. And that's what it felt like the priority was. But the jokes weren't even that funny. But anyway, 5 out of 10.
I will agree the action leans way more.
What you're saying about the
into
second one's how I
humor.
feel about the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the jokes and like how they're incorporated. were so
Yeah, around like 44 minutes is when the segment ends. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this just goes to show how strong Shen is as a character. Why
Yes.
his whole plan and everything. I think that actually it's very well implemented into the world building. I talked about this before you were here, TD, but basically, the response to Kung Fu, because obviously Kung Fu has more like fantastical elements. You can't just counter it very easily unless you happen
Yeah.
to know Kung Fu, which takes years to master. I like how they established through Shen that he's one of the characters that are trying to find ways to overpower it. One of those ways is the cannon. I think that's just useful for world building reasons.
But they can
Yeah,
just
it
dodge
is.
it, SK.
Like it's, I mean, you could dodge
Like,
Kung
dude,
Fu,
like-
right?
Like again, like Shen's like whole shtick, like literally him just like having this ability. Like, okay, like Shen's like not much of a like Shen, like he's not much as a skilled fighter as like everyone else, but like the fact that like someone like him, who for all intents and purposes could have been like a casual fucking soldier, like has the ability to take down like a kung fu master with like this new kind of weapon, like that whole like just the sheer thought and existence of that like just challenges the whole like perception of what these characters have. It's like, wait, so you're telling me everything we worked for can just be like undone just like that with some dude with some gunpowder? What the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, so that's the end of that. Next we'll get the RSG thing, so
Yes.
we'll do that. I think Stir's gonna like this one because
Oh, stir.
So I checked. I checked just now. Well, not just now. I checked a little bit ago. I've watched five. Uh, yeah, 5 minutes out of the video.
5.
So about a little bit
Kung
more
Fu
than half.
Panda 1.
Gotcha.
So wait,
Okay.
who is this?
RSG.
RSG.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll listen to this right here. I'm curious to see the arguments.
Masterpiece. Kung Fu Panda 2. Well, before I talk about this movie, let me tell you guys something. Growing up, I watched most animated movies. But it wasn't until I went to the dentist one time and they were playing Cars on a TV screen they had above me. And as they were cleaning my teeth, I just remember thinking, wow, I like this. Eventually, I watched Despicable Me. I thought to myself, oh my god, I really like my childhood movies. I later watched Kung Fu Panda, loved it.
Yeah.
I'm in silence. I'm so confused. What's happened? It's been silent for 10 seconds.
He hasn't said much of anything outside of saying the first movie's a masterpiece. The second one is, he said he'll get into that later, and then he says he likes Despicable Me.
Yeah, now he's just talking about liking animated movies in general.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. Oh shit.
So a while later, I watched
There we
Kung
go.
Fu Panda 2. And keep in mind that I didn't have a lot of experience critiquing movies at the time. But I remember thinking that most of the movie was just Poe and the Furious Five fucking around in some city. I didn't like it that much. But watching it today fresh off Kung Fu Panda 1, I now see the movie clearly. While there is some truth to my original thoughts, flaws of this movie are rooted at the foundation. Let's just look at the first scene with Poe. So we get this shot of two kids playing with toys and then we hear banging. Presumably it's the Five training, but it's actually Poe stuffing dumplings in his mouth. And Tigers is like,
Your training has paid off.
but the problem with this scene is that it just doesn't add anything to anything. Like, what is the purpose of this scene?
It shows the bond between the Furious Five and Poe and how it's increased.
Yeah.
I was like,
over time.
I will turn it around on him. What is the purpose of the scene where Poe is serving the soup to the Five in the first movie?
No, exactly.
What does it accomplish?
No.
It accomplishes the exact same thing this scene accomplishes.
This is what I like
Yeah.
about that scene in the first movie. It's that it's a very simple thing, but it shows how he's able to, bring them together through his connection to food and how he has his experience in cooking with Mr. Ping. Like, I think that's done very well, to show, okay, this is what we have in common, this is something that Poe is talented in, and it allows them to, see a side of him to appreciate more, and that leads to more of a bonding. And I think, showing them at the beginning, showing their friendship of them having fun with food, like, I feel like that slots right in.
Yeah.
So,
Other than being... So stay with me. Poe then gets called to Shifu, and when he gets there, Shifu is instantly doing this water drop thing. So they start talking about inner peace, and we get this joke where Shifu is just explaining his arc in the first movie while insulting Poe. This shit is... Wait.
Not actually contradicting his previous stance. Attention. Funny joke that
jump
also
scare.
does not undermine the character.
Yeah, that, but like in reverse. It's such a predictable
How does this
joke that
undermine
isn't
Poe?
clever.
I don't know.
It isn't
Bruh.
clever. It's not clever.
And it's
guys.
so out of character for Shifu. Now, obviously, these are problems.
How's it out of character for Shifu?
Yeah,
It's out of
Did he not watch the last movie? Because it's when he said he liked it.
I'm confused.
Well, for one, this is exactly the dialogue I expect for Shifu. He's quite snarky, but also like he attributes his inner peace finding due to Poe and Poe's progress and how like far Poe has come and how Poe could go even further. It's an initial joke to lighten the situation, and then it goes into the serious aspect. Poe is still praised heavily by Shifu. Like Poe is Shifu's greatest success.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, did you not watch the last movie when he was training him? It's like, once again, you may eat. May I? It's like, you are allowed to eat. It's like, am I? Are you?
I want to emphasize is that this movie is at its core flawed. These mistakes are not just random. They're all a result of the way this movie was written. This and the third movie were not directed by the same people who did the first movie. And that honestly explains a lot. Not only in the lesser quality,
Okay,
but this
pause.
movie...
So he said this is a problem with how the movie is written, and then he pointed out who the directors are, as opposed to the writer.
Well, the directors do have a say in how the stuff gets written, but I mean, I don't know. I guess
like,
we'll have to
still,
see
like,
where he's
if you-
going with this.
if you- I don't know. It's like if you're criticizing the main thing, it's like it's broken at a fundamental level because of how it's written, and then you go after the people directing it. It just seems weird that you go there first and not the writers.
Yeah, I guess.
movie feels a lot more focused on being a kids movie. There's so many moments that you can tell were only put in to please younger audiences. Many changes made to make this movie more traditionally appealing. An example being the side characters.
Hey, maybe you can't watch me be killed?
Stop being a wimp.
They fucked it up. I've already talked about how the first
How
movie
is
does a
that
great
bad?
I don't know.
job
Like,
painting
he
a
showed
full
that
picture
moment.
by
I don't understand how that was bad.
implying meaning. The Furious Five weren't the focus of the first movie by any means, but they served their purpose. But in this movie, they're just weak-ass joke machines. Tigress is the only one that isn't extremely shallow, but is also still kind of ruined. First movie, you could tell exactly how she felt and why she felt that way. But in this movie, they try to give her more personality, and it's just... I'm sorry, guys. It was weak. Basically,
I don't see how that's weak
What?
though.
It
that
just
she wants
was.
to
It just
prevent-
was. She's not
She
gonna prove it.
sees-
Not gonna
she's-
quantify it.
She sees that Poe's going through a hard time, asks him about it, learns about it, understands what he's going through, and wants to protect him at all costs. I don't think that that makes complete sense for her character.
Nah, but you see, it's just weak. Like he doesn't explain it. He's not gonna quantify it. He's not gonna prove it. It just is. Like this throughout the whole video, at least the first 5 minutes. Out of the 8-minute video, he just says things. Like he just says things are, and it just doesn't prove it. Like in the
Yeah.
like we saw with the Shifu thing, he just says this is out of character for Shifu, and he just doesn't explain why or how. It just is.
Yeah.
basically, she's the hardcore warrior, but while
It's
it might seem like
perfect.
she's just
That was
hardcore,
perfect.
she actually
Goodbye.
does have feelings and understands Poe. But then goes back to being hardcore, but she loses hope. But then it works out, and by then she's like
Wait, what?
hardcore warrior, but while it might seem like she's just hardcore, she actually does have feelings and understands Poe. But then goes back to being hardcore, but she loses hope. But then it works out, and by then she's like, that was pretty hardcore. And it's like, stop saying hardcore. Please.
What?
She loses hope because she thinks Poe is dead. What? What?
Yeah. That's why.
It's not she just loses hope because she thinks he's dead.
I know that I'm confused here.
I think the problem that stands out to me the most is that this movie feels rushed. And not in the sense that they didn't have enough time to make it, but in that they didn't do a good job of fitting the story into a 90-minute limit. There's so many moments in this movie that are simply not set up well. Remember the third scene when Shifu almost randomly brings up inner peace? And it's the first time Poe's hearing about it, apparently? Well, a few scenes later, they learn of Shen's
This is soon after the first movie, so eventually he's gonna hear about it.
So Shifu sends them to stop him, and Poe's like, wait, how can I do this? And Shifu flat out says anything is possible with inner peace. Bro, it's just like, whatever.
How was that bad?
Also,
Like he
that's
just
the
said
director,
what
not the
happened in the
writer.
movie. But it's like it was first of all he's attributing this to the director, and he has no way of proving the director was behind this decision. And then also he just says what happened in the movie with like a sarcastic kind of tone of voice. He's not explaining why it's bad or why it doesn't work. He's just saying it just bro. It's like that's not an argument.
Yeah.
Saying bro and then putting a picture of the director is not proof that something doesn't work in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird direction so far.
And then also, Shifu doesn't even go with them. And it's like, bruh, if we're talking
Well,
about
no
Kung
shit.
Fu itself,
Pause, because that was obviously a criticism. If Shifu went with them, he'd be leaving the valley unprotected.
Yeah.
The only reason he goes in the finale is because they think Poe is dead.
Mm-hmm.
being on the line, why? Well, there's literally no reason for it. He's kind of just not in the movie, and then at the end he comes back. He says, Poe, incredible that you found inner peace. And Poe's like, I had a great teacher. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He wasn't in the movie. You have this...
No, he
He was in the last movie. He taught him
And he was in
Kung
the
Fu.
last-
What the
yeah.
fuck are you on about?
Also, he gives him the advice at the beginning as to what inner peace is and how you find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And then he also taught him kung fu. Everything Po is because of Shifu, like mostly because of Shifu.
he's
Like, why
only
wouldn't he
in
say
this
I had a great
position
teacher?
because of Shifu.
This moment where this bull guy is like, Kung Fu is dead. It's just so unimpactful. It's like, okay, thank you. There's also a lot of
I don't get that at all, because I think that just again goes to show how powerful Shen is and his impact on the valley.
Mm-hmm. It goes to show how hopeless the situation is, that they're like facing down an army of weapons that can defeat any kung fu they have. They're outclassed in every way.
Exactly, they're in a position where
So
they
much
think
so,
it's
even these
they think
even
it's
these
safer
two
to just
great
not do anything.
masters. Yeah, like even these two great masters that Shen, that like Po fanboys over, have lost hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, this actually goes back to quickly back to the YMS thing where he says you can move out of the way. The Master Oxencroc literally says, and Po tells him, like, you can fight back and destroy the weapon. It's like, and if we do, he'll turn the weapon on the city, and then he like stays in the jail because like even if you could beat the weapon, you just use it on the civilians.
Exactly. Yeah. And they can't move out of the way, so it's game over.
moments where the movie instantly moves on to the next scene. It's like it has no time to breathe, unlike the last.
How is that instantly moving on to the next scene?
Isn't that the same scene where Shen is knocked down?
Yes. You know what that is funny he says this, because that transition reminded me of when Tai Lung sends the goose back, and it's like the flash of lightning, and then Tai Lung's shadow. You see a shadow cast over the valley by how the mountains are positioned around it. Like that hits me as the same type of transition. I don't know what he's talking about. It just moves from one scene to the other.
Yeah.
Last movie where
It's like, if you want to get that basic with it, every movie is one scene moving on to the other.
It does feel rushed, but it's very clearly just weak writing mostly. The most beloved aspect of this movie is the message. The first movie was about embracing yourself, and this one is like a hybrid of finding inner peace and also finding out who you are. Po faces uncertainty, not knowing that he's adopted, and uncertainty becomes anguish. So the sheep tells him to let it flow, and he finds it.
He's already misunderstood the basic premise of the movie. He knows he's adopted. He knows before his dad tells him. It's about not knowing who his real parents are. It's not about him being adopted. I'm like,
And the history behind that.
He's just like that. It just isn't set up well. Po as a character is just so much weaker than he was before. He has moments where
I disagree vehemently with that. He's explored with so much more depth in this movie than he was before. So no, that's a no for me.
Struggles, but because of how the movie is structured, most of the time he's just child appeasing funny guy. The plot of this movie
wasn't in the he wasn't in the first movie. Did you forget the scene where he's going around the Jade Palace looking at everything, then he breaks the jar? The scene where he's trying to get into the tournament, and he like slams himself against the wall with the bamboo.
What about
and, like, punches the door and
an entire segment where he's trying to reach Shen, find out about his past? What about the entire inner peace scene? Like, I don't understand where he's getting this from.
And his entire fight with Tai Lung, he smacked himself with a bunch of noodles and then slurped them all up as he was flying through the air. He used bamboos as stilts, and used the pans like throwing them at Tai Lung. He used a fireworks cart to blast past Tai Lung to get to the scroll.
I mean, look at every scene with his dad in these movies.
The ending of his dream sequence when they're all flying is like, but when you're facing the 10,000 demons of Shengu Mountain, you've got to, Po, wake up! You'll be late for work!
Yeah, exactly.
This movie is so dull. It's kind of like an adventure quest plot where the characters go to a city, fight, lose, fight, win. It almost feels inconsequential by the end.
That's not the plot. That's not the plot.
Fight, lose, fight, win? No,
yeah. That's just taking the fight scenes and acting like that's the whole plot.
The movie ought to come to a stop to have character moments, which for Poe are all about his uncertainty of being adopted, which I guess uncertainty
Bro's
does
using
directly
Minecraft
relate
music.
Yeah.
to inner peace, but the actual inner peace that matters has to do with Shen killing his panda race. So in turn, that conflict almost gets resolved instantly. I'm not even joking.
What?
What?
No, it doesn't.
Instantly?
That runs through the entire course of the film until that point.
Yeah. This is
I
like
mean, yeah, if you want to count
on-
like 50 minutes as instantly, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, this is on the brink of the third act right here. The scene where he needs a hat. So I don't know.
Like,
In-
I'm so confused.
Inner peace is a good message that I still learn from even today, but it all comes down to execution, and I feel like there are a numerous amount of works that convey this message better. One being Kung Fu Panda 1 with Shifu. I think in a lot of ways this movie is just a shitty reflection of the original. Off the bat, this movie introduces Destiny and flat out says that Shen will be defeated by Poe.
Introduces Destiny, even though they talk about it with Oogway in the first movie.
Yeah, like they literally flat out said that Poe will be the Dragon Warrior.
Yeah,
And therefore, it's not Tai Lung, therefore Tai Lung has to be defeated. Like, what is this
Exactly.
point?
Like it continuously keeps reminding us that Poe will beat Shen. And the problem is that we really have no reason to believe that he can't. The reason that the first movie's Destiny plot works so well is because Poe is a fat, worthless panda. How the fuck could this dude beat Tai Lung? And then we experience this
yeah, but the canon is there to justify why there's actually a risk of losing.
masterful story, and by the end, the victory feels earned. There are also a lot of moments in this movie.
I'm sorry, you telling me you don't feel a victory is earned when his entire race has been genocided and his parents were murdered and he's remembering all that and he has to try and understand like who he is, where he belongs in this world. Are you telling me that's not earned?
I don't know.
Like, what more do you want, my guy?
Movie where they use this music from the last movie and it's implemented in a very similar way. You have this training montage and the journey montage. But here, it's kind of reflecting Shen and Poe, but like they don't even know anything about each other yet. Why are we getting this fucking versus screen? In the first movie, Poe and Tai Lung are two sides of the same coin, but the execution is so good that it doesn't even need to dwell on it. You have the dragon.
Just to tackle that as well, the reason why we see Poe and Shen is because they are opposite sides in their beliefs. Poe is meant to be the face of Kung Fu. He is meant to be the embodiment of it. Shen is the embodiment of the antithesis of Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So that's why we see that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
Dragon scroll.
Yeah.
Scene versus Shifu guiding a drop of water. Obviously, by default, the Dragon Scroll scene is way more impactful, but it also helps that Shifu doesn't say, "This is one of Oogway's teachings, watch this." One more, you have two scenes of false victory with the group destroying the cannon and the group beating Tai Lung. I don't even need to say anything here. Every time I watch this movie, I just would rather be watching the first one. The only thing different is probably Shen. Shen is basically just an evil guy who wants to rule China. He does have a more personal connection to Poe, but it doesn't really result in anything mind-blowing. But the biggest problem is that
I mean, I think
mind-blowing.
I think their confrontation is pretty mind-blowing. Like that's the whole culmination of it all. So I don't know.
Yeah, like it's more mind-blowing than Tai Lung, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I think Tai Lung's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Because like that's closer to Poe as a character, so inherently like that's got to be more mind blowing. Their confrontation versus his confrontation with Tai Lung.
Yeah, Poe's trying to avenge his parents and save Kung Fu.
Mm-hmm. And like one of the last things that Shen even says to him is, I broke your spirit. I took your parents away. Like how did you come back? Like he's just completely surprised by all that.
Yeah.
Is that when you have a villain who's supposed to be terrifying, it is the dumbest idea to have a character constantly embarrass them. These first scenes with Shen in this Go are almost exactly like this Megamind scene with Roxanne. I guess this does lead to a moment where Shen is like, "Fuck you can't even believe how evil I am." So then he says, "Free her." And like, what the fuck? That is the most friendly, unintimidating way of making someone leave. Like, I'm not saying kill her, but do something, you fuck. Kung Fu Panda 2 is
I think that makes him a bit more interesting because, like, I think it shows a bit of doubt in Shen's own beliefs. Like, he's a witch just to murder her. Like, I think it's that last scrap of something in Shen, given that she's pretty much the last tie to the Peacock's heritage outside of him. I think if he just killed her, it would have been a bit less interesting.
Yeah.
is simply no first movie, where Kung Fu Panda 1 feels like every little decision is intentional. This one is simply not like that. When compared to greatness, it does fall flat, but it still is an okay DreamWorks movie. The animation is good, and there are some action scenes to keep things interesting. It's not something that will move you, but you also won't be mad that you spent time watching it. The fact that this movie is so beloved is very surprising to me. This truly is a fraud check movie. If someone calls this a masterpiece, you gotta question that. But again, it's not that bad and it has some good aspects. Scoring this movie, I am going to give this one a 5 out of 10. So,
my son is alive. Just like YMS.
Fuck!
Okay, oh, yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3 just bad.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think the arguments in this one are worse than YMS's, it seems.
Yeah.
Let's see. The soothsayer didn't say Poe will defeat Shen. She said a warrior black and white will, and Shen assumed she meant a panda. Yeah, you.
In the guy's defense, we obviously know that's going to mean Poe kind of deal, but it doesn't make a difference to what Kung Fu Panda 1 alluded to throughout the entire film.
Yeah, pretty much. Masterpiece. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
It's fucking peak animation, honestly.
Yes.
All these poor arguments that made me enjoy it more.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you want to look at all like the scrutiny this film has gotten. Because here's the thing, I was trying to find like criticism towards the movie before this, like a good few weeks before. Damn, dog threw up. He'll be back in 20. Let's hope the dog gets better. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That sucks. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was trying to look for like actual criticism towards the movie, and I was struggling to find any. I was like, okay, damn, a lot of people like recognize the greatness of it. So it's pretty rare that I actually find like actual criticism against it. But yeah, I think like we take a look at the criticism. I just think it reaffirms how good this movie is.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like the criticisms, at least we've had, are people not understanding it on a fundamental level or not willing to, in the case of this reviewer. Like not like this review, for example, is just interested. It seems to misrepresenting it for some reason. That's the vibe I get. With YMS, I just think they don't fundamentally understand the film.
Yeah. Well, this one, it seems like this person just didn't do enough like background checking on the just checking on the movie itself. It just seems like this person had an idea of it, had a perception, and just like stuck with it.
Yeah, it's like he just ran with it, you know.
It's like a gut reaction. Yeah. That's how this reads to me.
Yeah, to see over exaggerative language to make things seem worse than it potentially is. Like fraud check movie. So what does that even mean?
Fraud check movie.
Like define that to me.
I don't know.
Anyone that thinks it's perfect or whatever, you just assault them like, okay, but you didn't really do a good job convincing anyone, to be honest.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I am curious. What do you think of like the third movie and how it fares compared to the first two?
Um, I think it's definitely the weakest. Because I think Kai is the worst of the villains, and I think core backbone of Kung Fu Panda films are how good the villains are and how they engage with the world and characters and that dynamic, the back and forth. And Kai's just pretty thin overall. You don't really get much to him except that he's just after P. It's not like a super complex backstory, and there was potential in the sense that he was getting overshadowed by Uguay. You could explore that dynamic. They just didn't. It was more of a running joke instead. I I also don't like quite how they handled the whole the panda village aspects either, because the pandas were kind of built up to be quite mystical. And even in the film, they say they master chi, and you got these pandas, and that felt a bit like a letdown. And I feel some of the character work took a step down. Um, like Tigress, for example, is a bit more of a background role. Shifu is barely in it. The only parts that I really like is anything around emphasizing Uguay and Uguay's legacy. And I wish it kind of led more into that. And I feel Poe as a character isn't as strong as in two. He doesn't feel as mature. He feels like if you put Kung Fu Panda one's Poe into three, that's what you get. And that's why I think a lot of the issues for people lie. So I feel it just needed like that one draft to tweak it a little, and then it could have worked, and maybe change Kai's motivations.
Yeah, yeah, I pretty much agree with all of that. I thought Poe was just not really the same Poe that we saw grow in Kung Fu Panda 2. It felt kind of Spider-Man 3-esque where it's like we're not getting the same character here um that we saw in the last movie. It seems like we're kind of retreading some ground that really shouldn't have to be tread. With Kai, I think that's his name. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, I don't I don't think we got much in terms of him as a villain. He felt like fairly mustache twirly, for lack of a better way of putting it. He just wasn't all that compelling of a villain to watch. I don't think there was. I think there was way more they could have done with him.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I feel like I hate to be that guy, but I feel like if you're gonna have a villain that's gonna be like okay, for the last two movies now, you've had villains that are like pretty like these like in depth, like pretty big characters. I feel like I don't know. I feel like would it have really hurt him that much to have him be evil for the sake of being evil, but like in a good way, like Bowser or like Eggman or some shit, you know? Where
I
it's
Yeah,
like would it have really killed them to actually like just be like, hey, fuck it, let's make an unapologetically, I cannot say words today,
unapologetic.
unapologetically evil douchebag,
I
like just straight down.
I think it would have been really interesting if they did lean, if they did two things. One, you lean into how he's overshadowed to Uguay, but you could have it deliberately done by Uguay, so that people don't find out the evil things that Kai did. And you could have Kai be evil because he got consumed by Chi, and he didn't know how to really control it. Because
Hmm.
Chi is spirit essentially. You have bad spirits and good spirits. If you don't know how to control it, you end up going down a bad path. And I feel like those aspects would have been really interesting for the villain. Um,
Yeah.
but
For sure.
I guess we just had mustache twirliness, so then we only really get something of uh, maturity and such
I,
during the
I feel
final
like the
act. With
mustache
Spirit Bomb.
twirlingness isn't like inherently the issue. Rather that like there's not much of a dynamic with Kai and Poe compared to the other two villains. Because like with Tai Lung, he was like challenging Poe physically, and we got plenty of demonstrations of that throughout the film. Shen, it was a mental thing, and Kai it's supposed to be spiritually. I didn't get that. I didn't feel that at all. It felt like the whole dynamic that was supposed to be there just wasn't there. And it's like it was like we just shuffled along to the end and all right, we got this cheese stuff now. How we doing?
Yeah,
Like it's
it's
I don't know.
it's very strange. Like if the rest of the film was like the final battle in terms of like thematics, characterization as such. It could have been a really good film, but
Yeah, no, I agree. I fully agree. A lot of my issues actually come from the third act.
it's just a shame.
Yeah.
Especially when it's J.K. Simmons doing the voice as well. J.K. Simmons could nail such a
Yeah,
solid
dude.
voice.
Oh my god, the fact that you have like J.K. Simmons and Bryan Cranston in the same movie, and you give them to have like they feel so underutilized. Just hurts.
Yeah. It was really jarring to me when because I remember in Kung Fu Panda 2, my impression of the father is like, okay, this dude knows what's up. He's meant to be very badass. He's very much protective of his family, stuff like that. And he just comes across as really like lazy, cowardly, just kind of a bum in the third movie, which was
Which
disappointing.
I feel like when I first saw it, I thought, okay, they're when I first saw that, I thought they were gonna do the whole thing where it's like after his wife died, he like put like that life behind him or some shit, you know? But like, no, they don't. They don't do anything interesting like that. They're just like, no, he's just a bum for whatever reason now.
I
Yeah.
would have had if I was the writer. I'm like, okay, we can have him be this warrior and such, but I'd have it be quite jaded. And when like Poe's like, we gotta help people, uh, defeat Kai. He's like very against it, and that leads to your conflict between Poe and his father. Um, I felt like that could have been really interesting. You could understand
Yes.
both sides of the situation,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
nah. I guess lazy coward.
I
I
just
think
think it's all. I just think it's land that made all the pandas lazy. Not gonna lie.
yeah,
Yeah. I also didn't like how Poe spent like way too much time like getting comfortable with the pandas. I understand, like, of course, he would want to like get adjusted to it, but as far as he's aware of the situation, like it's kind of like an end of China or end of the world
It's pretty do
situation.
or die.
Yeah, and he seems very like nonchalant about it. When he's supposed to be learning about chi in the village as quick as possible. Um, I guess that's another thing I don't like about how they handled Chi, is that it just seems that they just what's the word? Uh lower or undermined its value at the end by showing, yeah, just anyone can learn it now. It's like, oh, and he could just teach all of them that, even the villagers. It's like, oh, I think that just kind of undermines it quite a bit.
yeah. I feel like she would have worked if it's the next step from Inner Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like it's building off anything. It just feels like it's just tapped on.
Yeah, and I feel like it might just lead to some questions in the fourth movie, because if like anyone can do that, anyone can do chi like that, then yeah, I don't know how we're gonna balance this moving forward.
Yeah,
I mean, they could do it. They could do it. There's always room for like course correction, but I don't know. It's still something to think about.
I don't know. From what I've gathered, people are very hit or miss on this one, on the new one. From what I've gathered,
Yeah, I've seen people are pretty mixed on this. Um,
which I kind of expected to be honest.
yeah.
The, this is the first one we're having in like what 8 years.
I think it's. I think so.
it is 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Like this is the first one we're having in like 8 years. Like it's very clear that like movie audiences are a lot more divided now than they were back in like what 2014, 15, whenever the hell
Dude,
the third one came out.
Last Jedi, I think like caused a huge rift between
It was a massive
audiences.
fucking ripple effect. Oh my god.
Yeah, Last Jedi like arguably like caused a huge impact on just media discourse in general, for better or worse. I'd say
Oh
worse.
god. Oh, I definitely say worse. I can't say I blame the cast and crew of The Last Jedi, but rather the response to it, I think, is what got
Oh
people
yeah.
divided.
I just think
'Cause,
like
like,
it's just horrible
Because like there
across the
are
board.
yeah, yeah, because like there are movies who are that are vastly worse than like The Last Jedi, but I think now that like normies have like I think that was like the first movie in like in a while that was like, man, normies and nerds really like for the first time, like see something that's like really that bad,
No,
and
yeah.
it's like,
Just endless disagreement across the board, really.
yeah, so
Yeah,
ridiculous. And it
I
only
mean,
gets worse because now it's in superhero shit. It's in
Oh,
other shit.
dude, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League discourse. That's like, oh,
Dude, I don't even you already know my thoughts on the game. Like I think both sides like exaggerate it way too fucking much. Like
oh.
it's a whatever game. Like I don't like what else do you want from me?
Um, yeah, go on.
what I hear from that game, it does the Last Jedi problem in where you're trying to do original, well, like you're trying to do different ideas and take things down a different route, but you're kind of forgetting that you'll still want to get in the same continuity, so you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. And when you
Yeah.
have
I
like
feel
a
like
dedicated
the
fan
game
base-
would have benefited a lot more if it wasn't Arkhamverse.
yeah, I feel
Oh,
like a
for
lot of
sure.
people wouldn't give a shit. Like, look, people still be against it because it's live servers, but I think it would received a whole lot better the second you know that is Arkham, and that's what people grew up with, and then you got Conroy, um, unfortunately dying. It becomes a bit of a shitstorm.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
it's like when you start bringing like childhood like icons that people grew up with into consideration for this kind of thing, it's like it's bound to hit some like trouble. It's bound to hit some discourse.
Hit some
That's
strings,
what
yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I felt didn't help the Last Jedi either, because obviously Carrie Fisher died
Oh,
before that film
yeah.
came out, and you're like, well, now this is the last time we're ever gonna see Princess Leia in this form. And then Han Solo's already dead, so it's all kind of fucked. And that's kind of what it feels, I guess, for people with the Kill the Suicide,
Kill the
Kill the Justice
Suicide.
League.
Kill the Suicide Squad. That's the next game. Kill the Suicide Squad that killed the Justice League.
But that's what I feel's happening with Kill the Justice League, is that people are like, well, this is the last time we see Conroy really in a game, and this is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Which,
And even then, like,
fine.
yeah, there were a lot of people who like started like bashing like the employees who like worked on the game, and it's like, dog, like they're just doing their job. Like, what do you like? What do you want from them?
Oh yeah, I've
Like, I
seen
don't.
people go like way overboard for that shit.
These people need to be fired.
Yeah, it's like, grow up, please. It's also like, I think people forget as well. Same with Crisis. Kevin Conroy signed up to all this, and he wanted to do this. He wasn't like held at gunpoint. He felt this was something that was good to do in his mind as a role.
Yeah, like he felt like it was something different. Like it's very clear that like both in Crisis and Kill the Justice League, like he was having fun. Like it's a different mold he's doing for the character entirely. Like you never really see Kevin Conroy like playing like that kind of Batman really.
Yeah, so for people to go, oh, it's disrespectful to Conroy, I'm like, well,
he signed up for it.
Yeah, if he was held at gunpoint, maybe I could see that case. But,
Well, I definitely feel there were things that were absolutely like tone deaf in the creation of it. Like for example, it has like the "Thank you, Kevin" thing, but then immediately afterwards it says "Mission accomplished," and then it shows the loot you get. That's like, oh, that's an horrible taste right there. Whether
I
it's
don't
intentional
I
or
don't
not.
know. Like that's I feel like I feel like that's just like regular gameplay though. Like that's just like regular game shit though. Like I feel like it's like, all right, boom, mission
if we-
complete. Here's all the shit you got.
But if we want to get down to presentation, right, it comes across as, so you're doing this tribute for Batman's death, and then you include "Thank you, Kevin," and then it's like, oh well, mission accomplished because you got that Batman killed. It's like, I feel like there's a different way you can do that. You can do the game achievement thing without putting it in the way they did. I think presentation is key here.
Kinda, yeah, but then like immediately after like you get your loot and shit, like you're back in the hall and like you see like both like contribute to like Kevin Conroy and like the original voice actors of Harley Quinn. Like on the walls and shit.
There's an easy way to do it. You just take the player to the menu, and then they go into the game, and then they get their loot. That's all. That's the change I would make as a developer.
I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I wouldn't know how to go about it.
Well, lucky for you, there's someone in the school that was studying to be one.
Ah.
Yeah. It also is the showers. and I went into cybersecurity. So
Gotcha.
you would just take the player into and then when they go in,
Mm.
Someone's audio is breaking up. Is it me or is it you? Who is it? Sounds like it's me. Okay, and let me try to fix it. I don't know. Alright, let's try this again. Alright. I just reset my connection. So maybe that worked, maybe it didn't. Okay, it's working now. It's much
Alrighty.
better. But yeah, go on.
You just take it to main menu, and then they could do continue game, and then you see their loot, and then people are like, whilst that might not be the most intuitive, they could understand given the circumstances. Then I feel it's an odd one.
It's an oddball all around. Like I can't be mad at like anyone inherently or like just the stuff that was going on. It's just an oddball all around.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know why the game exists. Like, not in like, oh, you should never make this type of game. It's just like, I don't see how you go from your Arkham games to this live service thing and willingly want it as a studio.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it comes down. It's definitely left field. I guess it comes down to like who was in charge and who wanted to do what, and I guess like just throw needles at a dot. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like Marvel Adventures came out a few years ago now, and it's like that was a huge failure. Live service games don't really get popular unless you're like looking at a Fortnite or something. Like you need a sensation.
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
You're fond of me, lobster, aren't you, Winslow?
And like, as much as I shit on Fortnite, there is something fun about it when you play it with friends. And I feel like I play with Britt and Neb, and we just turn autistic, and we somehow win by doing so. But with something like Kill the Justice League, it's very, very difficult to do such a thing, I feel, because it lacks that. Because it's a lot more complex, I feel. It doesn't have like simple rules in the way that like Fortnite does.
Yeah, no, I feel like while I did kind of have fun like playing Kill the Justice League with my friends, like I never got the same amount of fun as like playing Fortnite with them. You know, it's like you're playing by objectives the whole time. You're not really like it's technically also free roam as well, but like there's not much to do with the free roam. You know, like you can't go and do like in Fortnite, you can't like hop in a plane or some shit and just like crash into buildings and just do a bunch of random shit. Like you're pretty constrained to what you could do and Kill the Justice League.
Yeah, like me and Brett were like in a car during Fortnite, and we found this group, and instead of getting out the car like sneakily,
you ran them over.
I kept running them over, and I ended up killing them all.
Hey chat, record that moment out of context, submit it to the police.
Like I was going skirt and then boost, skirt and then boost, and I just kept it.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't think I can get this in like other games. And
no, you can't. You really can't. You're a soulless monster.
Yeah, and I was like, it was like the funniest shit. It's Neb as well was trying to deal with another trio on his own, and he's like, where the fuck are you guys? Explain how we're killing people, and then we win the game like somehow.
Yeah.
It's
then you got like the custom like community mods like gun game and shit. Like that's just a whole loads of fun.
Yeah, like with Fortnite, you put Sonic fans into the mix. You got like 50 Sonic fan projects that are like good quality. Like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Yeah, and then like when you're playing gun games, Stir just like shut up, let me kill you.
That's the funniest shit ever. Stir's just screaming about the game when he's losing.
And then like he complains saying, "Oh, you're not funny. Get some new material." Whenever he fucking dies and gets made fun of for spazzing out.
Me and Britt are like really funny because like we create caricatures. So I'm like Fun Badingo, a local pedophile that's part of Trump's campaign. and he's Clutch Clive, who apparently clutches every time, but does like the most stupidest shit. Because like Brit, if he's like on his own and we're dead, he'll sometimes randomly fall off a cliff or something somehow and just die, and we lose the game. Every time. We don't know how he does it. So he becomes Clutch Touch Clive, and he just goes into this like deranged monologue how he always clutches, and deflects any criticism.
Absolutely
And then,
trash.
and then we have Neb because he doesn't
Absolute
use
trash.
he doesn't use voice, so we can bully him easier. We just have him like the fat cunt. We have him the fat cunt that's jobless and can't get any and just eats KFC all day in his bed.
No man.
Like when he like fails, we go, "Oh, your fat rolls couldn't roll over the analog stick properly," like that.
Pig Voice O just said this just didn't Jeb did 9/11. Oh shit.
No.
And I'm
Oh
proud
my
of it.
god, wait, SK, do you remember like back in like 2018 or 19 when me and you played Fortnite and like custom maps and shit, and like me and fucking
Oh yeah, you'd always
I
like
forget who.
snipe and shit.
Yeah. And then like I forget who and it was like me and someone else. We like got into a plane and like crashed into like the fucking like wooden structure you fuckers made.
Man,
Oh,
well
yeah,
that's what I do in present day. Like
Yeah,
holy
that's what I
shit.
still do. I still do. I'm still a sniping piece of shit.
My favorite thing is when like me Brett and Brett gets into any vehicle, and we trust him to drive. 5 seconds later, he'll either get destroyed, we end up into like 10 enemies or something somehow. And he doesn't even.
This is why mom doesn't
intentionally.
fucking love you.
Yeah, he doesn't even do it intentionally.
Talking about how bad that Fortnite SK is.
Damn, no, we're just talking about
Damn.
live service in general. That's how we got here.
Oh, live service
Welcome
in
back.
general.
How's the dog doing?
Well, he's sick, so that's why he threw up. It took a little
that's
bit longer
true.
than I expected to clean it up. But we don't know what's wrong with him yet. We're waiting for the results to come back.
Hoping he's doing better, or she, or
Yeah, it's a he. What I missed.
Well, we basically finished the RSG one.
Did he
RSG's
ever anything?
hey what?
Did he ever explain anything?
No,
Did
he kind of just said stuff like, "Oh, this is Poe is just weaker. He's a weaker character." And I don't know. They say he said they just turned him into a joke, or just like a guy who's meant to make people laugh or whatever. I don't know where he's getting that from. I don't know. And then we got just kind of talked about like how discourse for things has been like kind of tainted by, well, especially Last Jedi. Once that came out,
I'm
there's
telling
just
you,
lots of
Last Jedi was a canon event.
It was a canon event. It caused so much horrible discourse. It was unreal. And then it got us to like kill the Justice League, because that's basically like DC's Last Jedi.
DC's Last Jedi.
It basically
I don't know,
is.
man. We could get worse. It could get worse.
Well, I meant in terms of discourse. It's like
in terms of discourse,
Us.
it can still get vastly worse. It can still get worse. Trust me. We're already kind of seeing when Zack Snyder went on the fucking Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh man, that is one thing that I was a little confused about. Isn't Joe Rogan like kind of hated by people?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I can't remember.
Joe Rogan's the type of guy that his opinions align with whoever spoke to him last.
Okay, so he's one of them.
Yeah, like his opinions are whoever spoke to him last.
Whoever spoke to him last.
Like, I was just like, I got nothing against Zack Snyder as a person, but like, oh my god, like just hearing some of like the stuff he's like been saying on that podcast, I'm just like, dog, you're a nice guy, but I don't think you were the right person to write most of the shit that was put to screen. I'll be honest, man. Like, I don't.
Yeah, the idea to challenge conventions is a noble one. I quite like it, but
yes, I agree with that.
You gotta be able to do it in a way that still fits with the general idea and thoughts that people have around the characters.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up alienating them.
Like, I never understand someone like actively seeking to like in a way like upset the fans of the material that you're adapting in such a weird way to go. It's just like a weird way of going about making a movie. Like I don't get his thought process. I really
It's like
don't.
I don't have necessarily a problem with the change, but like you have to have a purpose behind it. Your purpose can't just be I want to do it just because people don't want me to. Like
Well,
you can't just
Exactly.
have
Like
such a
that's
like when you have such a vindictive reason for doing something, it's not going to turn out good.
Well, I don't think his whole reason was I wanted to annoy the fans. I think it was like he wanted to challenge commonly made rules about Batman, which is totally fine. I just
yeah,
think
which is totally fine, but like it's
I think his
But like
execution needs
here,
work.
it's like that can't be your
yeah.
only. You need to have like a plan. Like you want to
I
challenge
think
it, but why do you want to challenge it?
he's like the same. Fuck, what was that most recent movie he made? Rebel
Rebel Moon.
Star.
Rebel Moon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Moon.
that yeah. Like, dude, like, does he have like a fetish for like people getting like touched certain ways? Like I don't get it. Like
I
when he
didn't
like
watch the movie, so I got nothing.
like okay, no, like I'm serious. Like like did this dude like sit down, watch A New Hope, and think, yeah, that glup should have molested Luke Skywalker in Mos Eisley's cantina?
Oh my god.
Like what?
I like when I think of his Superman idea primarily, I like the idea that Superman could be seen as a messiah figure to the general public, and that maybe ends up getting soured due to certain mistakes he may have made, which enables Lex Luthor's rise to power. I really like that idea, but that isn't what fucking happens. Um, it gets very
I
blurred.
I don't I don't I don't understand why making Superman this messiah like figure is so like I don't get it. Like that's
I
not I don't
I think it works if you make it in a sense it's grounded in reality because like Superman is obviously an alien seen as better. Like
Yeah, exactly.
it becomes parasocial, which is what we see with celebrities today. You play on that aspect, but he kind of let it way too far in like the Jesus metaphor, like where he basically is fucking Jesus, and it kind of misses the point. I feel. He's not meant to be Jesus. He's meant to be just an individual. That's it. He has superpowers. He can do the good things, but he's still at the heart of it a normal person due to his upbringing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what works about Superman. But like
I think
I
what
don't know.
loses it for a lot of people is that he's whenever he just fights, at least like huge bad guys, he just causes fucking insane levels of destruction that
Oh,
he
that's definitely
wouldn't
one of
have
my
ever
problems.
done.
Yeah.
Like
It's like he just
the
doesn't
whole
care.
Smallville fight, Jesus.
Well, it's not
It's
even
like
about the destruction he causes. It's like he just doesn't care to minimize it. But he doesn't care to like. I
No,
mean,
yeah, that's what I mean.
compared to Death of Superman, where even in the middle of the fight, he's still trying to save people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Or Superman Doomsday.
No, we don't. Well, yeah, we can compare Superman to because they start fighting in the middle of the fucking city with no regard for the casualties,
Yeah.
despite the fact they both want to protect the city. It's stupid. I
It's
actually argue it's even worse there.
I would even mind
I don't know.
a man is still if like he didn't show care, but that's a plot point in the next film where, or like towards the end of the film where he has to learn to care because of the mistakes he caused and the people he's hurting. Like he gets a bit uh disillusioned, but again, that's not even what happens. It plays off as if like he's never done this damage.
I don't
Um,
understand. Like I respect people who like the movies, but I just don't understand what people see in a lot of these movies. I really don't. I feel like a lot of it on the surface level is just Zack Snyder wanting to like make funny little action sequences. It's like he's playing with action figures for the most part, you know, where it's like there's like a lot of it is like something you would think, yeah, this would look cool to see. Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman fighting against Doomsday in a city. That would look cool. That would be cool to see.
I think it's the thematics and how they attach that to what goes on to find it to have deeper meaning.
No, that is true, yeah. Like
I
I don't
think
want to call anyone like I don't want to be the guy like yell into a crowd that you're terminally online or anything, but like I don't know.
was like, a lot of his like his DCU movies just hit me as like doing different things compared to like the comics and previous movies for the sake of being different. Like I don't really see a reason something had to be different. It's just different because he wanted it to be different for some reason.
Which I don't think there's a problem with wanting to be different, but I just feel like
you have to have a
I don't-
reason behind it. Like you can't just
I
be
feel- I
different
feel
for
like-
the sake of it.
I don't want to say he like did it out of spite, but I feel like he did it just because he thought like the source material was like not cool or some shit. I don't fucking know.
I
Yeah,
think
I feel like
I think he
don't
just
know.
likes to challenge what's traditional. I think that's just an innate part of him. He wants to,
Yeah,
I guess,
which I
do
think-
what hasn't been done.
yeah, which is why I think Watchmen kind of worked for him for the most part. I think for stuff
Oh,
like
yeah, that's his
Watchmen, I
best
think yeah,
movie.
yes, I think Watchmen. I think that's what worked. I think that's why it worked so well for the most part. Now, granted, I got my own gripes with that movie, but like I feel like for the most part, he seems to mostly understand why Watchmen works the way it does. But like characters like Batman and Superman, where he's like, you're not honoring your God the right way. That's how he said it when it came to like Batman, like choosing not to kill and kill him, whatever.
You're making him irrelevant.
thought he-
so
I-
you're making him
like make me
irrelevant.
like what?
I thought he worded
Like,
that very weirdly. I didn't understand what he meant.
I really don't. Like, I don't think he's a bad dude, but like, I think he's just. I've said this on my Twitter. I've said this before. Like, I think he's just an edgelord at the time when he's like
Damn.
making this shit. He literally was like talking. Dude, I'm sorry. After seeing Rebel Moon, I'm convinced that dude just like. I'm convinced. Okay, the dude's an edgelord. Like after seeing Rebel Moon and then like the whole Batman getting raped in prison bit, I'm like, yeah, no,
Oh,
this dude's
God.
an edgelord.
I have
why-
not seen Rebel Moon. I'm waiting till. Here's the thing, right? I was going to see it, but then I learned, oh, there's like an actual cut that's coming like in the summer. So like, all right, this is worthless. I'll just watch the actual cut when it comes out. And that's what I'll do. Because I kind of want to go in like more blind for this, and I feel like the experience of, well, you have the theatrical, I don't know, it can kind of taint that, like the first time reaction. Because like if you were to
Yeah.
watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, but you've already watched the Justice cut, then you're not really gonna get as much of the first time experience, gut hits, surprises, whatever you want to call it, that you're really meant to get. So I with this one, I want to try getting that experience to see if it like adds
Hey,
anything.
yeah. I mean, hey man, more power to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like the actual cut, like he has to be doing it on purpose at this point, right?
No, this was
'Cause there's
because
no
I'm
way.
pretty sure it was because this was a deal with Netflix where he had to get like a shorter cut for Netflix to come out, but he's allowed to have his own separate cut for later. I think that was part of a deal, and that was like the best he could get.
That's
Yeesh.
from Netflix's perspective, that's got to be like a money making strategy.
It's
Because
Honestly,
that way
like-
they get two movies in one.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. It's probably for business shit.
It's why
Probably.
I'm glad that James Gunn is going to be taken over because, like, even if he makes something flawed, I can at least see good in it. Like, and also the stuff he's already done for DC, like Peacemaker, I've really enjoyed. So, I'm
Mhm.
just like, thank
Yeah,
God
I've been
there's
like
someone at the
thoroughly.
helm.
Oh, sorry, you go. You go.
I was going to say, thank God there's someone at the helm, and the fact Marvel let him go in the way they did instead of making him the creative head is mind-boggling to me.
That was a horrible idea. Now we're stuck with
Dude.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Dude,
Uh,
I'm sorry, but like, here's the thing: if Superman Legacy turns out to be like really fucking good, Marvel's like kind of screwed. Like, think about it. They let
Yeah.
this they let this motherfucker go twice.
No, yeah, I think the only reason Marvel really still like stands a chance is because of the nonsense with Black Adam, Shazam 2, and The Flash. I think that made it so it's like, okay, Marvel still has time. Marvel still has time.
No, it's like not even that. I think it's just the only reason Marvel still stands a chance is because of all the groundwork that every movie prior, Civil War and prior built up. Because think about it, right? That's the only reason people like Endgame was super divisive when it came out because Endgame's a piece of shit. And like no one's really hanging around past that. because like now Marvel's directionless. Like there was a direction, and now the direction is gone.
Yeah. Like I'm not gonna say like, oh, James Gunn's gonna be the savior or anything, but like from what he has shown so far, I do have hope that I think he'll at least bring something interesting to the table.
Yeah.
Like everything I've heard about Superman Legacy, about like how it's with him and his dad and shit, like, oh, that's like so fucking like it's good. It seems good to me. And then you got like people on Twitter saying like, guys, he's faking it. Like he's faking forgetting his dad's
Oh
death.
yeah,
I'm like,
I saw people
I'm
like
sorry,
going after his.
that's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, this is why I hate Snyder versus Gunn Twitter. It's because they do this petty shit where they go after their relatives that have passed. It's like, come on.
It's like, dude, like you're really accusing a dude of forgetting his dad like passed away or some shit. Like what? Like you're really gonna like, we're really gonna. This is where we're at. We're really gonna stoop to this low. Like what?
Yeah, I
Like,
just see no reason for it.
I see no reason to like throw out these like crazy accusations that like that only make sense within the confinements of your mind. I don't.
All because of superhero movies and actors.
I know.
Like, dog, if these motherfuckers did something so reprehensible, everyone would have known about it. Everyone would be calling them out on it. Like, it's just smoke and mirrors. You're like, it's,
unless they cover their tracks well, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I feel like with how things are nowadays, like if either Gunn or Snyder were like massive pieces of lying massive pieces of lying shit, I feel like everyone would be on their ass about it.
It's also like Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy films are heavily influenced by his relationship with his father and his own upbringing. Like but yeah, with Marvel, to be honest, the only hope for me left is Daredevil, because it seems to be going into the right steps, but I still have concerns. If Daredevil's like dog shit, I'm kind of like, okay, well, I have no hope for you anymore.
I haven't watched any of the fucking shows, and I don't intend to start picking up now.
The only thing that worries me about Superman Legacy is just the sheer amount of he's being in the movie.
I kind of feel that as well, but like at the same time, we don't know like what exactly their role is. Like,
no, exactly.
I can't.
That's why it's not a big concern, but like it's there in the back of my mind. It's like, damn, he's trying to
there in the
juggle
background,
a lot of shit with this movie.
Like here's the thing. I feel like at most these motherfuckers like Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, and the other guy, I forget his name. I feel like at most they're just gonna be like small little cameos that are just like there for world building reasons or some shit.
Yeah.
Which could be.
I don't know. I'm not gonna.
We'll find out.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm not gonna be purposefully bad faith like some of these motherfuckers are right now. I'm not. I'm gonna wait to see with my own fucking eyes.
Yeah.
I think it will be good. The casting gives me hope.
Oh my god, dude, the casting. Oh, I love the casting so far.
And it doesn't look to have studio interference because God is like, at the head of it. It's the Feige of this.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what James Gunn and like DC has like going for them right now, is that they actually have someone in charge who like is actually creative.
Yeah, and it's like the fact again, Marvel just went, you know what, we're not gonna really put in all our efforts on Gunn, who is probably the best creative out there.
Probably their best chance at keeping their universe afloat.
Yeah.
I still find it funny how like apparently like Kevin Feige would like send scripts over to James Gunn, and James Gunn would just give like half-ass notes about the scripts. He's like, yeah, sure, I like this thing. I don't like this thing. Do whatever with this. I don't really care.
I have seen people say something like that James Gunn lied about some Middle Eastern plot. I don't. And apparently the proof is that one guy was going to be like a character that's Middle Eastern. I think I can't remember.
I remember that. Yeah, but the dude was like. But here's the thing: that actor he didn't get casted because of the strike. Like literally, the actor explained like.
Go in an interview and say that?
Yeah. The dude literally made a whole ass post on Twitter saying like, "Hey guys, stop blowing like all this smoke and shit." Like literally, what happened was that I auditioned, I talked with Gunn, the strike happened, and I never got a call back.
Yeah. So, it
like
seems to me a lot of people, especially with this movie, want to just start drama.
Well, they want it to fail before, like, I mean, it's not even finished yet, and they want it to fail.
I know.
They literally like they just started filming this week. Like what?
I mean, yeah, that's why a lot of it just seems like they're hungry for drama. Like, I mean, we've got like, what is it? The people saying that James Gunn was a Zionist because of people he hired, which we don't even know if he knows of certain things. Like, the evidence people were giving was, well, they liked this specific thing. It's like, okay, sorry that James Gunn doesn't track people's likes all the time.
And even then, if you want to like bring likes into this, look what James Gunn likes. He literally likes posts about talking about what's going on in Gaza and shit. Like,
well, it's like if you want to bring that up, I mean, dude, do we even talk about fucking Zack Snyder going on Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's podcast.
That's something.
Yeah,
that's something that was kind of suspicious to me. I did see people criticize Zachary Levi for going on Joe Rogan's podcast, but didn't say anything about Snyder going on there.
And yeah, it's a little weird.
Granted, I don't have much to say about the Zachary Levi thing because I don't know much about Joe Rogan other than what I've heard, so I can't really say much. But I don't know. It just seems weird, that disconnect. It's like no one's mentioning this. Okay.
I don't know. I don't understand people who are so obsessed with this culture war, I guess let's call it, about fucking two directors who, as we both know, actually like each other in real life. So like, yeah, like we know both these guys like each other in real life. So like, why even like why even bother?
I don't know.
It's also weird to say that Gunn endorses Zionists because like, when you're hiring someone, you can't just go, "Oh, I'm not going to hire you because you're pro-Israel." You can't do that. And also, like,
that's a slippery slope right there.
Yeah, and you could end up in lawsuits as a company. And also, I don't know when the casting stuff was done. I think it was done before even the conflict.
No, yeah, it was. A lot of the stuff, literally the Jimmy Olsen, literally many people were excited for like Jimmy Olsen and shit. Literally when the shit happened, people were just finding out that, oh, the Jimmy Olsen actor is a Zionist apparently. Because like for the first time, like they posted on their Instagram talking about Israel and shit. So it's like, no, like if chances are if we're just figuring this stuff out, who's to say others didn't? Like,
yeah, and especially when it's stuff they had to dig for. Again, it was based on like hunting for their likes.
Again, like I don't understand people who are so terminally online, like looking for shit like this, just to like about a fucking movie. Like, may I add, like, dog.
So
like, I don't.
They think drama will restore the Snyderverse.
It's like they think the Snyderverse is like its own thing. It's like the Snyderverse is not like it's not a thing. Like it was a concept at most.
I don't understand.
It's not an actual thing you can fight over because it doesn't exist. There's no such thing
Guys,
as a Snyderverse.
DC should be bought up by Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it all pathetic. And as well, like, the whole Zionist thing. I'm also like, if you do go, "Oh, you support Israel, you can't be hired," that's going to lead to anti-Semite allegations. And that's not
like what, like it or not, like...
What if the executives in WB said, you can't use this as a reason or you're fired?
No, it's
Gunn
literally,
still has
I'm pretty
executives
sure...
too.
But I'm pretty sure it's actually illegal to discriminate in hiring someone because of them supporting Israel, or them supporting Palestine too. Like you can't, the same way you can't fire someone based on that, you can't not hire someone based on that.
Well, I mean, apparently, like one of the Scream actors was fired because they support Palestine.
Well, not officially. They gave some other bullshit reason for it. Yeah, it was the main actress.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it backfired on the company. Yeah, it backfired. Everyone dropped out.
Yeah, I know. If she supports Palestine, and like everyone knows that it was because she supports Palestine, but I'm pretty sure the company gave some like half-assed explanation as to why.
Yeah, in HR context, they kind of go, "Oh, well, people are good at this and that," and obviously everyone knows it's bullshit. But in like a court of law, you're gonna find it very hard to prove it was because she supported Palestine.
Yeah,
you're acting on conjecture, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like this whole not hiring people based on them supporting something. It's like we've already like this is just a reverse of the of like back during the Red Scare, where actors who were thought to like support Russia or had left leaning politics were like hired and blacklisted from Hollywood. Like this is just that.
It literally is just that, yeah.
I mean,
Like, I don't.
another reason I don't like using the likes as a point against like the director, for like hiring and shit. It's like, what if someone just likes a post by accident? Does like anyone ever think of that?
Like
Yeah,
even
so
if we went, even
I've
if we
done
went
that.
with that, like even if we went with that, like if they even if they did like on purpose, like what are you gonna do? Like on paper, like reason for ban? I did not like that tweet you liked. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, in the
it's like
professional business, I don't know if that could cause trouble with your connections or whatever.
Yeah, no, like James Gunn is like gone on record saying like he doesn't really give a shit about people's politics so long as they like keep it to themselves. So like he literally hired like literally the dude for fucking White Dragon. And he's definitely conservative. Like if you look at his accounts and shit, he's definitely conservative. Like it's very clear from the get go that like Gunn just doesn't give a shit about if someone's like left or right.
I mean, it's like on Twitter. You guys see that guy that made fun of the Little Mermaid actress? So people started making fun of his mom.
Yeah.
And then he made a tweet complaining about this. Like I only saw the tweet, right, where he was saying that they were assholes for going after his dead mom, and I liked that tweet until I saw that the reason they were doing that was because he had started making fun of the Little Mermaid actress because she was black.
I still think
And
it's
then
kind of fucked up to bring someone's
and then
dead mom into that. Like what?
Yeah, it is, but I'm not gonna like his tweet because he quite literally started this revolt.
Yeah, like if you play fuck around, find out on the internet, you're gonna fuck around and find out. Like I'm not saying it's justified for what happened, but like literally that's just how the internet operates.
Yeah, it's like so then I went when I first liked this tweet, I didn't know that because I only saw the tweet where he was complaining about it, and I was like, damn, they are assholes. And then I started it, so then I went and I liked the tweet. I liked it by accident because I didn't know the whole situation.
Wait, SK, did I just like hear you mumble under your breath, talk shit, get hit, or did I mishear you?
No, I said unfortunately that's how it goes. Talk shit, get hit, though. That is a funny quote. That is a funny quote.
It's also people like think about like thinking much into it. Like they don't think about deep implications, especially like if you are James Gunn, who's leading a fucking studio and working on 50 projects. Like I like some things and I don't put super intense for, and I'm working a 9 to 5 job. I could only imagine how busy that man is.
Yeah,
like I don't understand like how we've gotten like so rabid over just dogpiling people. Like I don't understand it. I really don't.
Especially when it's fucking Warner Brothers that he's working with.
Yeah.
Like that's gotta be a fucking nightmare.
Oh my god, it has to be.
Honestly, it's a shame how much like trouble we get into just to get the Justice League into a movie.
Like even like here's the thing, even if we want to like start playing by some fair rules here. Remember how in Peacemaker like the Justice League showed up? So even when James Gunn wasn't the head of like the whole thing, he was still trying to somewhat stay intact with like the fucking like lore and shit in the DCEU. Kinda. Like he had the Justice League show up. So like he was like it wasn't like he was like trying to dismantle anything from the get-go. It's like, no, like I'm trying to play my part here, man.
Yeah, it's like I'm sorry, but like, it was just never going to take. It was like building a house trying to build a house on top of a foundation made out of sand. Like it's not possible.
He's trying to, but yeah.
Unfortunately, in execution, I do think that cameo in Peacemaker is like a little forced, because the Justice League was made to be like completely out of character there. Like they see these people, oh damn, they've been like hurt real bad, and it looks like they need some help, and they just don't seem to care about that at all. I feel like a lot of that character issue there.
I feel like that comes down to the fact that WB just wouldn't let most of those guys return.
Yeah. WB is quite an organization.
Yeah, no, I feel like more than likely, I feel like if that was the case, the scene still would have played out the same thing, where hardcore would still end up in the hospital and shit, but a bit faster, if anything.
Yeah.
Because only a third of the Justice League is there. I'm pretty sure, right? You only got what,
I think you get
Flash,
4?
Aquaman. Yeah, you only
Flash
get
and
4 out
Aquaman
of the
show,
7.
Wonder Woman and Superman are not seen. They're obscured.
Yeah. So yeah, what?
I swear, whoever invented the DC Cinematic Universe was on the hardest drugs ever imagined. I mean,
Whatever you're smoking, give me some, and then you're fired.
the DCEU is just, I think, just one of the worst things to happen to DC.
Yeah.
It could have been worse when you consider they were going to go ahead with Batman impregnating Lois Lane. This is where we were going, and they did get to that point, thankfully.
I don't know why that was a thing. That just seems really... that seems weird. That just seems weird.
I don't...
It's like Captain America fucking Pepper after, Tony dies.
I know, that's weird.
I cucked your wife, bitch.
Toilet water's here. This movie is horrible. Master Chicken isn't in it. That's a good point.
That is a great point. Everyone knows Master Chicken. Master Chicken is only in the best Kung Fu Panda of all time. Kung Fu Panda 3, of course.
Yeah.
The best one.
I'm gonna have to concede to that. We should have had Master Chicken in this movie.
0 out of 10. No Master Chicken.
They legit ruined DC's reputation. Video games are good, comics are outstanding, and animated movies are amazing. Video games in this year at least. Don't know about
he's
that.
talking about when the DCU.
When it was coming out. When it was coming out. That's the thing, right? Because Man of Steel, I think people were more so mixed on that. I don't think people outright hated it that much.
I thought it was okay. Everyone's
Man of Steel is I don't like it, but I can respect it to an extent. I don't.
Yeah, it was
not
around
the
BVS when people just started throwing hands.
It was BVS.
Yeah, it was BVS.
Yeah. It was BVS.
I can't really fuck with either of those movies, but I will gladly listen to the soundtracks.
It's SK, you said that Suicide Squad was DC's Last Jedi. I think BVS was DC's Last Jedi. If
I don't
being
think
honest.
so. Well, I said that because of the discourse with BVS. People mostly agreed it was shit.
I remember it being a lot more mixed.
Really? Because I guess, okay. I guess it's a matter of perspective, right? Because from what I remember, because even myself, being a fan of the movie when it came out, thinking it was good, people were like, "Oh, this is bad, and they thought Civil War was better.
Also, everyone thought that Civil War was better, but I just remember a lot of people liked the movie, and a lot of people didn't, and I think that lasted for about 2 years. It's obviously never been as divisive as Last Jedi. Last Jedi is divisive to this day. BVS, I think, was divisive for maybe a year or two after it came out, and then everyone just agreed it was shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's just one bad step after another with this universe, because even with BVS being as it is, people didn't think the universe was beyond redemption, and then Suicide Squad comes out, and they're like, okay, this is a really bad direction, and then we get what is it? I'm trying to remember the next one. It was Justice League.
Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman came. Wonder Woman came out after Suicide Squad.
Wonder Woman convinced people that it could be better, but then
admittedly, when I first saw Wonder Woman, I liked it. And I still kind of like it now.
I don't really care for Wonder Woman.
I mean, hey, that's a fair opinion. I still like the first. I still like the first one a bit. It feels like it's, in a sense, it feels like it's actually trying to be something. It's aware of what it is. It's not
I think everyone, I think the consensus was that it was good until
Yeah.
like the third act with Ares, and then
Yeah,
it, like,
I
shit
think
on
that's right.
itself.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Like that's
Yeah.
my stance on it is. I love the first two acts. The third act's kind of.
Well, yeah, where I was leading to was that it was really like I think Justice League that really just
That was
killed
the
it.
nail in the coffin.
That killed it.
Yeah, that was
It's
the
like
nail.
we're not getting anything good with these characters. That's what people.
Well, I mean, then
were going
Aquaman
away
happened.
with.
Then there was like some hope for some people, which I like. I admittedly I liked Aquaman. Admittedly. I liked it admittedly.
I can't enjoy most of these movies just because of like the damage they've done to the brand for like a long time. Because like yeah, you have Aquaman, then you have Shazam, which okay, people that Shazam's
People
better
liked
than
Aquaman and
most.
Shazam, yeah.
Yeah, people like Shazam. But then we had like Birds of Prey. It's like okay, here comes the oversaturation of Harley Quinn. Um, and then what was after that? Was it Wonder Woman 84? Oh, it was Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, it was Wonder Woman 84, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I really started to get sick of that specific Wonder Woman. Just seeing over and over again, like this is what it just feels like. Over and over. And then just I don't know. It started to feel repetitive what they were doing with her character, and I think that's largely because of the acting not being great and not having
It's not just when you get a,
range.
it's not just when you get a model and not an actress to be a winner.
Yeah. I don't know. It starts to feel like a staple. It especially started feeling like a staple when we had Fury of the Gods and The Flash, where she just shows up all the time with the music playing.
I don't got a problem with the theme. I think here's the thing. I don't think repetition's a bad thing. Look at God of War and how Bear McCreary like handles the Kratos theme. I think how that's handled is great.
No, yeah, I just think like the ways I think she's just starting to be forced into the universe a lot.
Yeah, no, I feel like when you I feel like I used to love the Wonder Woman theme, but now when I hear it, I'm like, oh my fucking god, here we go again.
No, but that's how I felt with the Snyder cut with the no.
I'm weird. I actually like the Wonder Woman rendition of that theme. I'll be honest.
I hated the choir of it. Just well, I don't even
really.
I don't like it. Firstly, and secondly, it's just done like every time she just does, like she breathes, and then I hear no.
I mean, it's like how I think about this year was like after Justice League, think of Justice League as like a bad car accident that put the universe in the go. Then every movie after was it being on life support, and then with the Flash, that's when everyone was decided they were just unplugging the cord.
Apparently, The Lost Kingdom was pretty bad.
Oh, I didn't even see it, so I got nothing. But I think
I don't know. Really... One of my friends saw it. He said it was whatever.
Wonder Woman 84 was like the spot. It brought it towards like, okay, you're at a point of like no return, and then
that was when it flatlined.
Yeah, that was when it happened, and then we get I think it was Black Adam, and because the Suicide Squad gave some hope to people, same with Peacemaker, but then you had Black Adam, and then you had Fury of the Gods, and then you had the Flash, and I think it was just that. Starting with Black Adam was just like, okay, it's done. It's done. Especially when Henry Cavill was no longer coming back. It's like, all right, this is so done. This is so done.
That's what I mean. Like every movie after Justice League was us putting the universe on life support, and then like as its condition rapidly deteriorated, and then everyone was decided with the Flash, we were just gonna fuck it.
It's like there were like one or two moments like, guys, he's coming back. Goes, oh no, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like the universe is waking up, and then it just and it was like, all right, we're done.
Because like after
we're done.
Like it wasn't going great like from the beginning, but like after Justice League and how horrid that was, and how like clearly it's like has conflicting visions. At that point, you just had to reboot there, and the fact that it didn't happen earlier, it's wasted lots of time and money.
I don't know, like yeah, no, I'm glad they're rebooting now. Like, oh my god, took them long enough.
Better late
Way
than
too
never.
long.
Way too long. Way too long. I just remember for a while, people were like, "Oh my god, guys, no, the actors are coming back. I promise you, they're coming back." No, they're all getting recasted. Fuck you.
No,
It's a
yeah.
reboot.
I
It's a
guess
reboot.
the old saying "better late than never" holds true, I suppose.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah.
To be honest, like even now, I think they would have been better off if they just rebooted and went like 2D animated for their movies.
Honestly, yeah,
Yeah.
I would like more of that.
Like
I mean, I would
I really think that also helped them stand out from Marvel and Disney, because Disney doesn't even do 2D animated movies anymore. So
I'd be down for like a Spider-Verse esque looking DC movie, like maybe
like
for
in
the
2D.
Flash, Batman Beyond.
Kind of crazy how like the Spider-Verse writers were like they wrote a Flash script. WB didn't like it. They went on to make Spider-Verse.
And then WB went on to make the Flash.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
That was such a great idea.
Imagine the canon being introduced in the Flash.
Oh god. I mean, they kind of had their own version of the canon, didn't they? They said there's like inevitable intersections.
Fixed points, yeah. There's fixed points or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought the rules for that were just insane. It's like, and I don't know. I don't want to get into that.
I don't know.
I don't
Keaton,
want to get
Batman,
into
Bush
it again.
Igor, I can't take it anymore.
I still remember when people were like, "Nolan Batman's gonna be in the Flash." It's like, no, he's not.
No, and Christian Bale said no.
Christian
He
Bale
said
would.
no.
That would be character assassination for Christian Bale to accept that. No way.
Man, George Clooney coming back for a split second just to tell Ezra Miller, "What's wrong with you?" was funny as fuck.
That's probably why he did it.
Yeah, just like, yeah. Apparently, like he like gave Ezra Miller like a stern talk, like a talking to behind the scenes or whatever. We don't know
Really?
what. All we know is that apparently they like talked for a bit, and like George Clooney was like telling him about the industry and shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of in Batman Forever, behind the scenes. The guy played Two-Face. I forgot his name, but he was also in Men in Black.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. He beat Jim Carrey. Like, I cannot take your book from the ring.
I hate you.
No, Jim Carrey said, like, and he whispered into my ear, I cannot sanction your book from the ring.
It's kind of crazy because like there's a cut of that movie that exists that's like actually like that's like more closer to what what was his name, the director,
Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, there's like his cut of the movie is out there and Kevin Smith has it. For whatever fucking reason, Kevin Smith has it.
I'd be interested to see it.
Yeah, same.
I like Batman Forever as it is, so I'm curious what an alternate version would have looked like.
Yeah, the alternate version is basically like more in line with. Apparently, from what like Kevin Smith has said, it's like Tommy Lee Jones like not being that enthusiastic as Two-Face, more like Nolan's Two-Face in the sense where like he's like more like down to earth kind of.
Oh yeah, right. Because the reason he played it up was for his kids, because his kids like Jim Carrey in the movie more than he did.
Oh really? That's interesting.
More than his kids like Jim Carrey in the movie more than they liked him. That's why he played it up.
Yeah, so like that includes like the Tommy Lee Jones takes that are serious. It includes like a part about Batman like talking about. I read the original script. Like the original script is out there to read. It's like
really?
It like confirms that like the original script is out there to read. It's like it confirms that like this is a continuation of the Burton films.
Right.
Where it's like and Batman like gets criticized for like killing the villains and shit. Or like it's like a deep dive in like his psyche, and basically like Gotham's talking about like, hey, is Batman doing the right thing by killing these dudes? Well, we certainly think so.
That would be interesting to see them talk about it. I mean, granted, they do like touch upon this, not really the public opinion, but more so the personal, like the psychological aspects of Batman choosing to kill. So that could have been interesting as like a way of building on that.
Yeah, it was, and then. I'm pretty sure like in like the original cut, like Batman doesn't kill Two-Face.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seemed like to me like in the final cut that they had, he only did what he did because he didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, but apparently, like from how it was described in like the original script, like it was like of Two-Face's own making of how he died.
Yeah.
Like he brought it on himself or some shit.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to handle that.
I mean, he kind of did in the actual movie too.
He kind of did,
driving
yeah, but like
after-
Batman,
driving
like
after
kind of like
coins.
Batman kind of gave him that push, and like he threw the
egged him
coins
on.
in the air. He threw the coins in the air, like he's like, I knew what I was doing, you know. You remember that lecture I gave you about killing people, Robin? Yeah. Well, forget about that for a second. Let me kill this fucker.
Damn. Well, I mean, I guess in that context, it was justified because like he kind of has to prioritize Chase and Robin versus Two-Face, so it's kind of in a pickle.
Yeah. Then there was this one scene that I know. I think you might know about the scene, Kronos, where like we get to like see the inner workings of like Bruce Wayne's mind a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, there's like a scene where like he's like there's like a scene there's like a scene where like he's like talking or like standing in front of the bat that like jumped out at him as a child that like scared the shit out of him or some shit.
I like how that's how it did discovered he was Batman. He's like, what kind of man has on the brain?
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I mean, of course, I'm not like it a lot. Is Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's a goated actor, best actor to ever live.
Yes.
You're simply wrong. You're simply wrong.
Jim Carrey makes any movie he's in 10 times better. Just look at the Sonic movie.
I need Jim Carrey to.
I mean, he is coming back for. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you in charge here? Yeah. I mean, he is coming back for 3, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I know he's gonna be goated.
Well, like Sonic
in
general,
they're killing the child. Let's go.
We're getting some more Shadow stuff with Generations and the Sonic.
I want to buy that so badly.
And Prime, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, because we've all seen Prime here. Right?
Yeah, we've all seen Prime.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like Black Doom back in 2024 as a villain, not like just some random appearances. It's insane.
God, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And like seeing him have.
Has anyone here played Shadow the Hedgehog? Out of morbid curiosity.
I have. I played
years ago.
The game
years and years
I
ago.
haven't. No.
It had potential.
I don't. It had potential. From what I remember of it, because like I used to play a little bit of it, like this little like daycare I went to and shit. Like I just remember thinking it was like whatever as a kid. I didn't like love it or hate it. It was just I just never understood why Shadow had a gun.
Yeah, a hedgehog with a gun.
Who is this for?
Who is this for?
Yeah.
I honestly, I'd be down for them to give it another go. A solo Shadow game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been long enough. We can try again.
Remember, in a PG movie, you're allowed to say a handful of swear words. So in Sonic 3, Shadow can say, "Where's that 4th damn Chaos Emerald?"
Can this get any damn weirder?
my favorite thing is this is a line not many people talk about Shadow Hedgehog. My favorite line is this is like taking candy from a baby, which is fine by me. And it's like you didn't need to say that, Shadow, but
For a second, I thought you were going to say the Black Creatures line.
Oh,
the very
man.
racist one. But yeah, I think Sonic's in a very good place. I think Sonic 3, especially now it's going to be using Live and Learn. Johnny.
Yes.
Yes.
Junkie XL, you motherfucker, please cook.
And it's gotta be during the final fight. You don't buy the rights to that song and only have it.
Watch them put it in the credits.
It's the ending credits.
I can't see him doing that. I really cannot. I think this time they understand. Like, Live and Learn is the most iconic Sonic song of all time. So
Yeah.
Well, what you mean?
Amen. Amen.
Sonic X intro. What are you talking about?
Okay, no, the Sonic X theme does go hard. I will give you that.
Yeah, but it's not as iconic.
Gotta go faster.
Faster.
I'm still choosing Live and Learn.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I'm disappointed that there's no All Hail Shadow.
You don't?
Well,
Do we know that?
As far as we know, they've only bought the rights to use Live and Learn.
They're not gonna reveal all their secrets, are they?
Well, here's the thing: people kept DMing Crush 40, and Crush 40's like, yes, they bought the rights to Live and Learn.
Yeah, but we don't know if the Crush 40 is gonna reveal everything.
We don't know that. We don't know that. No, I don't know.
I mean, for example, right? With Kung Fu Panda 4, they didn't reveal in any of the material that Shen and Kyra going back just alone. Everyone just naturally assumed that Shen and Kyra.
Hey, fair enough. Oh god, dude, I really hope Junkie XL doesn't screw the pooch again. Oh my
god. I have hope that it's.
Here's the thing, like I don't hate Junkie XL as a composer. I think he has some really good stuff, but like his sonic scores are just lacking.
Jeff's gonna turn into a Blue Lantern ESO.
To defend Junkie XL, it's actually Paramount. That's the problem. Because Junkie XL.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
He originally proposed using the Mega Drive chip.
Yeah.
Using those sounds, but they said no.
I do think though, out of all the themes in those Sonic movies, I think Robotnik's theme is the only one that I remember. It's bum bum ba bum 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 ba-dum. It's just like the classic like Sonic Adventures cartoon theme, but like sped up, I think.
Exactly.
My favorite
is the GOAT.
My favorite Eggman theme is still always gonna be do 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 do.
Yeah, I am the Eggman. That's what I am. I am the Eggman. I've got the master plan.
I hope a long shot thing. I hope they use City Escape as well. With like some form in.
Oh yes, please. Wait, dude, did you see that? Like they filmed some of the movie in Tokyo.
Yes, yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Crossing my fingers. Like I've heard City Escape at a Sonic Symphony, you know. I need to hear it, you know, in a film.
Yes.
I need to hear it.
I was like, something else I think we've all glossed over here is that like Knuckles TV show.
Yes, that's got a recent rating now as TV MA, and part of it's for male nudity, which I'm very confused over.
What? Wait, what are we talking about?
The
Base Knuckles.
Oh yeah, the Knuckles. Oh, I know. Yeah, the Knuckles show.
I'm still confused at like how Paka, whatever you pronounce him, like, he has to be there as like a vision. He can't be there genuinely.
I mean, I think he's definitely there as a vision because, like, here's the thing: they cited like Big Lebowski as like an inspiration. So I'm like, oh, I know what they're fucking doing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm kind of assuming.
And like, isn't Christopher Lloyd like apparently playing him?
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd's like who's playing him. I saw him in the trailer. I was like, I fucking know that guy, and so he's saying, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm excited for the Knuckles TV show. My favourite bit was like at the end where he's getting dragged away from thugs, and Knuckles like he's got to learn.
No, he needs to learn to save himself.
But if you use it comedy with Knuckles, this is how you do it.
Yes.
I mean, my favorite part is when he goes to punch one of the goons, and he's like, he says something about his power, and then the goon.
Yeah, do I look like I need your power?
And then he looks at the girl next to him, and she's all confused. And she's like, "Why would you say that?"
Yeah, and apparently that henchman's Kid Cudi actually.
Really?
Yeah.
The guy who did like the song for like the credits in the second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also love Knuckles getting the flame punch. I'm like,
yes.
That's obviously going to be episode 4, which is called Flames of Iblis or something.
Iblis.
Yeah,
time for you to disappear, Iblis Trigger.
Iblis Trigger.
It's
no use.
Knuckles episode titles. It was a reference to Sonic 06. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
They've been doing a lot of 06 references as of late with those movies. Remember how in the second Sonic movie, how Longclaw described the Chaos Emeralds as like transcribing thoughts into power, and I'm like, that's how 06 described the Emeralds. What the hell?
It makes me hopeful that in the Sonic X Shadow Generations, Mephiles will appear.
He's kind of has to if you're retelling Shadow's story. And I'm like, please.
Honestly, it's kind of crazy how like they're bringing back a lot of these like elements that were like hated years ago, but like are like just accepted now.
Yeah, they learned that you can't do the fucking Saturday morning cartoon. Sonic's a shonen character. He's cool. Like
Yeah.
they saw the reaction to Giganto boss fight. They're like, okay, well, we know what the people want now.
Yes, one pinball machine's turning into a giant sword titan. You fight in a fucking volcano.
And I'm confident, very confident that we're gonna get like as the final boss in Shadows portion. It's gonna be like a Titan-esque fight type deal.
I hope. I really hope.
Super Shadow, like it gets the Black Doom, whatever variation that he'll.
Oh, that would go so fucking hard.
If Kellen Quinn's there, I'll take it, but I don't think he'll be there.
Is Crush 40 back for that game or
Not confirmed. There's some interesting stuff going around though. Like Jarrett Reddick, who's bowling for soup, he's saying that there's possibilities. Today, he's like that they're going to be doing a new version of the song, and I'm like,
oh,
what project's this for? Because I don't think it'd be for that game because that wasn't in that game, except as a soundtrack. So, what other purpose does that serve? Unleashed remaster? Who knows? If that happens, I have an idea for that though. I think I know how you can fix the medals for that game.
Lay it on us.
You make the medals for the DLC levels. That's all you do. That's how you do it. You get a certain amount of medals, you unlock the DLC level. And then that way that replaces the existing levels that you have. And your game time isn't reduced because you want to unlock the DLC levels.
Apparently the shadow segments of the game is just as long as like the actual like original game, apparently, from what I've heard.
Ian Flynn had to kind of go, to be clear, this is not like this was what speculation was, but I suspect it'd be a Sonic original game anyway. Like 2 hours.
Man, we're eating year of Sonic. God damn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ever since Sonic Movie 1, it's been smooth goes. I feel like Sonic like Revival came after Sonic 2 once that movie came out.
Yeah, dude, like oh man, like dude, like Sonic 2 was just a vibe.
Yeah.
Like going from the first movie that was like kind of like a Sonic adaptation that was like, oh, we're doing like this grounded sort of like at home stuff. Now we're here where it's like, no, he's fighting the fucking Death Egg robot. The Chaos Emeralds are here. We got that fucking Knuckles fight.
Yeah. And we got the Shadow teaser.
Yeah. That kid's gonna die.
I said to my partner, my 2 wishes for the film are Shadow the Hedgehog teaser and Super Sonic. And
a part of me really wishes we got Metal Sonic though.
Fuck that! I want Shadow. No, I kid.
No, listen, man, listen. Metal Sonic has been fucking Listen. Metal Sonic has been sidelined for far too fucking long. Okay.
I do agree. I think Metal Sonic could, if he was a villain in like a mainline game, I think it could really work with the Ian Flynn.
Oh yes. Especially how like the comics have like been writing him as like remember I forget what was the issue, like he was like under like where he was like pouring his hand like the hot metal or some shit, like like give me more of that.
I was like Sonic 2, Super Sonic and Shadow. My partner was like she nudged me when both happened. I was like, I know. I remember during the theatre, people were about to leave, and then the post-credit scene happened. They all stood there. When Shadow appeared, there was like audible cheers. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, no, literally, that's what happened in my theater too. Like, I knew there was a Shadow post-credit scene happening. I saw it opening night, and all the kids were like, Shadow! I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, I'm not alone.
Yeah. And like after the film, because my partner was like, who the fuck is Shadow? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell you the lore.
Listen, if you're going to be with me, you're going to know the secrets.
And I think it's really cool. It's either getting people who are not into Sonic, like into it. Like Sky isn't into Sonic at all, but she loves Sonic 2. and she's like really excited for Sonic 3 because of how they're saying Shadow's not going to be like Sonic could just go happy fun times. Like Shadow's going to be a genuine adversity.
I always found it funny
Yeah.
how, like, when we first found out who was going to be cast as Maria for the third one, and the first thing we see of her on set is just her with a hoodie on backwards, and I was like, oh, she's already in a body bag. We're all set.
Yeah, yeah. She gets the good idea.
Yeah.
She posted on her Instagram a video of a guy like Sonic fans reacting to the Maria casting, and it's
Yeah.
just like the actor turning around seeing like people knowing what's about to happen, and it's just like gunshots in the background.
I'm curious who Shadow's cast are going to be after hearing Hayden Christensen comparison to.
Oh, Hayden Christensen is not a casting I thought I would want so badly right now.
And I'm like, he's now my number one choice. If you had to get a celebrity, if you had to get anyone, it's who voiced him in Sonic Prime for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me personally, I would love it if David Humphrey came back, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
He's like in his 60s now, I think. Anyway, I think he's that old.
He's still kicking around.
Yeah. But Hayden Christensen to me is like the closest you get to David Humphrey outside of Sonic Prime.
Yeah, no, like I didn't realize like how close like Hayden Christensen's voice was to David Humphrey. Like I was like, oh my god, that's pretty close.
And I do hope at least. I want Amy to be in there more than Rouge.
I don't know who they're gonna put in. I really don't.
Like I was hoping Kristen Ritter was playing one of the two, but she's not. She's playing a human character. It's like, oh, okay.
What if it's just what if that's just Rouge's like agent name?
Like I don't like who could play these characters. I think Amy's pretty easy, but it's Rouge that's a bit.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, if you had to do a celebrity, might be good for Rouge. I feel because of Black.
Maybe, I don't know.
But that costs a lot to get.
I'm just of the opinion they should bring more of the game voice actors in. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, since just
they did it for
mentioned
Tails.
Jason Griffith as Shadow.
Yeah.
I like Jason Griffith as
Yeah.
Shadow a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I still would want David Humphrey over him, mostly because like Jason, he's been like voicing Shadow again in like indie projects and shit. Like, I don't know.
If it were up to me, Jason Griffith would be voicing Sonic again. Like if it was just up to me.
Oh
No
yeah.
offense to Roger
Hey,
Craig-
Shadow!
no offense to Roger Craig Smith. I like his direction of Frontiers especially, but Jason Griffith from Unleashed Black Knight.
Oh,
Yeah, Jason Griffith has always been my favorite to voice Sonic.
I really like I really like I'm weird. I grew up on like the adventure cast, so I'm kind of biased.
I grew up on a mix of Griffith and Drummond.
Yeah,
I like-
that's like my ideal Sonic right there.
I like Drummond, but I feel he lacks the sarcasm aspect to the voice. I don't know what it is. He's a bit more blunt. But yeah, and then I'm kind of like as well. I hope that after Sonic 3, it goes into if they do future films, it becomes animated projects because I feel like you start becoming very restricted after.
I mean, they did like an animated short for like that for the second movie. Remember that animated short where they were like fighting the drone?
Yeah, and they also did like a prequel comic which had the fucking Chaotix in there.
Yeah, I remember reading that comic. I was like, oh damn, I like this.
Like Vector was there. I was like, so Vector canonically is in this universe.
Yeah, so is SBO, so is Charlie.
Yeah, they're just
You
like,
say
I'd hope-
you say Vector, and I just think of the guy who went, "Fuck my asshole."
You know,
we could we could thank you for that one, you little fucker.
You know Cars Gaming. He's correct. He's correct. The guy who I played Fortnite with. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's a funny. He's the one that came up with Fun with Dingo. But yeah, like I hope as well after because Sonic X Shadow Generations has to be hopeful that it's done by Sonic Team, which means it shouldn't fuck up.
Yeah.
Like Sonic.
Did you see that like there's rumors that like Shadow might get like his own little like spin-off series after the movie? Did you see that? It's
I
rumored,
like,
but like it's
I see it. I do see it.
I don't know. Like
don't
I don't.
know.
I guess it's just I don't. I can't say there's nothing left to tell because I don't know what they're telling in the movie. I don't know.
I have me and Cecily have a theory, and that it's going to be Black Doom as the villain instead of like the whole Bio Lizard type deal.
Oof.
Because the reason for this is because Sonic X Shadow Generations, where the villain is Black Doom, and it's meant to be
Also,
story.
they did say when making Sonic 3 that Shadow the Hedgehog the game was a bit of an inspiration for the story.
Yeah, and I feel like Black Doom kind of makes sense if you could incorporate him better. Um, he's the natural fit, and he has a character, unlike Big Dinosaur. Um,
It would be interesting because like we know Jim Carrey's coming back, and then Black Doom in the midst. And here's the thing: we know for a fact Jim Carrey would only come back if he liked the script. So what did he see in this script has me questioning. What what were they cooking?
I remember him getting announced. I was working, and like Fugless was tagging me in one of the servers like 50 times, and I was like,
Jesus.
It's Sonic news. It's got to be about something I like about Sonic, which is most things. So
Yeah.
I have a look, and I'm like, oh, it's the Sonic 3 title logo. I listen, and it's Live and Learn, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's an
God.
epic version of Live and Learn.
And then I hear the laugh. I'm like, that's Jim Carrey. And Fugless didn't point this out, so I like lose my shit. I'm going, that's Jim Carrey. I'm deaf, and I know that laughter. And I started losing my shit. That I actually got him back for his first ever movie trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ben Schwartz said, yeah, guys, that's Jim's laugh. He's back.
And people were thinking it was Shadow. I'm like, no.
Yeah, why do people think that was Shadow's laugh? Like, what?
I'm like, I know that laugh.
Yeah, that's literally his laugh from Sonic 2, where he's like, contraire, mon frère.
My dream casting for Gerald Robotnik would be Peter Capaldi. It really, because you just need to think across with the 12th Doctor, and you got Gerald.
Oh, Pierre Capaldi, that'd be nice. Okay, but hear me out. Mike Pollock.
Mike Pollock would be a dream. Like to see him do something in some form.
Yeah.
He is Eggman after Dean Bristow.
Yes.
Sonic 3 is it. Regardless of the actual quality, I'm gonna love it nonetheless.
Yeah.
December. We have.
I mean,
we have 9 months.
This stuff flies by. This stuff flies by. I still.
It flies by way too fast.
I'm still like, cause it's been what 9 months since Across the Spider-Verse came out. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I remember I was just like, ugh, this movie feels like it's forever when it was like, because I remember last year when the trailer came out, like the second trailer, I was like, okay, June can't get here quick enough, goddamn, and then we're like way past it.
Yeah, that's me with December right now. Just December.
I have a theory of the marketing. In that during the Games Fest, we're going to get our big Sonic X Shadow Generations trailer, and then they're going to be like, "Oh, we also had the Sonic 3 trailer for you."
Yeah,
that'd be a killer drop.
Because that's 6 months. That's 6 months away from the film, precisely. Which is good marketing period, and we'll marketing the game with it to show, hey, these are working with one another. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
But
I'm kind of surprised we didn't get anything for the Super Bowl. Kind of surprised. We got the Knuckles show, but like, kind of surprised.
I expected it. The only thing I could think of would have been like maybe the voice reveal of Shadow, but I don't think that's coming for like. I think that could be.
Apparently, Shadow hasn't even been casted yet.
Does surprise me, because Ben Schwartz.
Yeah, because Ben Schwartz, like literally last week, he just started recording.
Yeah, so I think they've only just got in Shadow, which would also add to the Games Fest theory. They'd be like, here's Shadow's voice, here's the trailer, have fun.
Have a wild time, dogs.
And I'll be playing that trailer 50,000 times, like I did with the final Sonic 2 trailer.
Oh, man.
Because that's one of my favorite movie trailers. That's like genuine.
Sonic 2 trailer, like, that just like got so much hype in me.
Like, the just seeing Sonic versus Knuckles, I'm like,
oh. Like, oh my god, dude. Like, I was kind of skeptical of Idris Elba being Knuckles, but like, I am so fucking happy that I was wrong in being skeptical. He's fucking perfect.
I saw him cast, and I was like, I wanted it to not be a celebrity, but if it was a celebrity, I would have picked him. And
Yeah.
I was glad I was right. I'm like, he matches the stoicness of the role. So I was very happy. Hopefully we don't get a dance scene in this one. I can see
Nah. What's gonna happen, man, is that they're gonna kill the big bad and they're all gonna dance together, like early 2000s movies.
I would like a dance scene in like the ending or the beginning, preferably the beginning, because if they're gonna like do the fake death of Shadow, you don't really want a dance scene at the end.
Shadow's dead. Let's do the Macarena.
Like I wouldn't mind like Sonic and that playing Dance Dance Revolution at the beginning of the film or something, you know, just and then let that be the obligatory dance scene if you need it.
Yeah. We gotta have the floss be in this one. we got.
Yeah,
We're 2 for 2. We're 2 for 2.
Shadow does the floss on Sonic. Yeah.
You faker! You can't floss as fast as me.
Faker? You're the faker here.
You're not even good enough to be my fake.
I just, I hope they realise you got to kind of take this a bit more seriously. Try and push the boundary of a kids' film.
Well,
like
seeing how they're doing Maria,
yeah, you're having a child die.
I want to see that child dead.
Like,
I don't care if you go the Sonic X route and just have the guy scream and just cut away and hear the gunshot. I don't care if you just see her bounce and ricochet against the glass dome. Just, I want to see the kid's body flop dead.
I wouldn't mind like seeing it from Shadow's perspective and like.
Ooh.
You have the shadow of Maria's body in like one of the walls because you've seen it from Shadow's perspective and you hear the gunshot. That's what I would do. Eggman being fat, I think is a very plausible thing, Gen 2, because
I mean, yeah, Jim Carrey's been pushing for a fat Eggman, so.
And I don't think it'd be through him eating his. Well, it could be, but I think it's just him going underground and like scheming and like being so unhealthy with his obsession.
I'll be fine if he's like not fat, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It'd be cool to see the full like evolution. You go from the.
I feel like Sonic X. No, sorry, not Sonic. I feel like Sonic 06 would be like a good way to go in terms of like him how they would show him like being fat. You know.
Yeah.
Probably.
But yeah, I would show Maria's death from Shadow's perspective because as well you get to connect with Shadow in that moment, and I would like to see a bit of like what was happening before her death, like the project.
Oh yeah.
Show Shadow Maria's bond because we don't really get that in the game. So that would be neat.
Yeah.
Like you have the whole moment and then you have the title card type deal. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Someone said, "We need a thumpcast on Sonic 3." Oh, that's gonna come.
That's gonna come. That's gonna come. Whether we pirate it or see it, it'll be there.
We also got to do Sonic Prime at some point. Sonic Prime.
Oh my god, dude! I fucking love. I don't understand the hate that show gets. I don't get it.
I don't either. Yeah.
It's because the problem is they went, oh, it's canon to the games, and people are like, well, this doesn't really match how we see Sonic. And then Ethan went, oh, it's after Advance 3, which is like really vague. When actually it could only be after Colors. I think it's between Lost World and Frontiers because it does a lot of the groundwork for a more mature Sonic.
It does, yeah.
Very Saturday morning cartoon.
I really love how Shadow's like done in that show. It's like both from like a voice wise and just like character wise. I just really love what they've done with them.
Yeah.
It's like they don't go. It's like they don't try to go for like the deep and gravelly. It's like no, Shadow sounds kind of normal. Like I like that.
The way I bring back Robotnik at the end of 2, he falls into the smoke, but you don't actually see him land. So you could have just one of his devices save him.
Yeah,
that's all you got to do.
Oh yeah, like in later. He says later hater.
Later hater.
Like, here's the thing: if Stone can survive that fall, I don't see how Eggman wouldn't. Like,
But
I don't know.
Here's my theory of it. Agents do the same means, and he's infiltrated to see any information they could get from Gunn on the matter. And then this
Oh
is
yeah,
how Eggman finds out about Project Shadow. So he does exploring.
yeah.
'Cause
Watch
Agents
like,
don't
oh
know
my god,
those.
like the first, like the second movie, like opened up with Eggman like on the planet and shit. Imagine this one opens up with him in a fucking like wheelchair or some shit.
And he's in like his cameo for the whole game.
He's like, that hedgehog broke my body, but I'm gonna kill that little fucker.
My grandfather's creation. You're gonna finish what I started.
Rub that in my little orphan face.
Damn.
Oh,
Well, this has been fun. My show
Yeah.
for Kung Fu Panda 4 that starts in 20 minutes. Luckily for me, that's like a less than 10-minute walk. But I'm gonna be there. Kronos will also be there. We're actually he's heading to the city as we speak.
Pictures
He's
or it didn't happen.
Pictures or it didn't happen. You know what? I'll get some censored material for that then. Well,
All right.
so yeah, you won't see our faces for obvious reasons. But yeah, it's gonna be happening soon. So this has been fun. Kung Fu Panda 2, absolutely peak. Absolutely peak.
Masterpiece.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I almost forgot. Jeb, did you say so if we talk about the fourth movie, do you care about spoilers?
Just spoiler tag it.
Okay, spoiler
We'll talk
tag.
about it in the chat.
Okay. But yeah. I'll check it out and I'll say what I think when I'm done.
Alrighty.
Yeah, this has been fun. Goodbye.